Wow, 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 wow. Oh boy. You know, doing starting soon screens, I kind of understand like why people would do them. It helps. It's like, okay, I can have all this stuff set up, ready to go. Though then again, I'm right now hearing two different songs. The starting soon. No, you're not, Lala. You're fucking not first. TK was first. Let me get over here. Next studio mode, because I don't like studio mode. Studio mode's fine for like transitioning between scenes and making sure that my model's not fucking up on the main screen. How about top for this one? What is it? Don't do it. Hello, Robbie. Save all the time. Okay. do big saves. I will do big saves. Presented by the Radical Dreamers, 1996. It's really fun to do something like this. Wait, oh fuck. I took off my glasses. It all began with a notebook my mother handed me. She told me she found it while cleaning out the closet. The old notebook, covered with mold, was a diary that belonged to my grandfather who passed away years ago. It contained his distant memories. I wonder if you still remember how we first met, our many adventures. It seems like a dream. We ran like the wind during those warm summer days long ago. You were a piece of a star that fell from the sky. I can still relive the memories of those days long past. Just by closing my eyes like so and whispering your name in the desolate night. Kid. Kid. Oh, this is going to be really fun because I have to do a lot of talking. Just like, I guess like most of my JRPGs. But this is a visual novel, so it gets to be way, way worse. That's just Magus's castle. Kid. Hey, kid. Are you ready, kid? I know you're anxious, but stay on your toes. Yeah, likewise, mate. You mess up and I'm leaving you behind. You got that, Surge? Come on, Maggle, let's go. The bastard Lynx is going to get what he deserves. Say your prayers, not that it'll do you any good. Hehehe. Radical Dreamer, Le Trésor.
We're gonna feel a little woozy.
What the heck? Hello, X86.
It's been 6 months
Why didn't it
already?
go off? Why can't I hear the sound? Oh, hold on. Maybe there's an issue. Hold on. Hold on. Up. I'm surprised that didn't go off. Hold on. Stream elements, use control. That's weird.
You're gonna feel a little woozy.
Yeah, I can't hear shit.
What the heck? It's been 6 months already?
Oh, I know why I couldn't. I couldn't hear it. Y'all could hear it. Hold on. Damn it. Now let me try it again.
You're gonna feel a little woozy.
What the heck? It's been 6 months already?
Yeah, sometimes time just flies. It's amazing how that happens. Alright, D-pad, chain selection, confirm castle menu, auto text, sound, menu sound settings, and return to launcher is everything plus option. Enter a name, we'll just continue with Surge. Okay, so I can just save at any time. There we go, we'll just do that. The old lady tip-off was right on the money. The counterspell on the barrier around the outer walls could have done a real number on us. Kid's plain, unadored braid flicked back and forth across his shoulders as she walked. We picked our way through the elaborate lattice of the manor's magic shields, moving in closer and closer to Lord Lynx's stronghold. There were 3 of us, Kid, Maggle, and me. I guess I must have been 3 years already since I first met Kid, back when I was a wandering musician, traveling wherever my feet would take me, wherever a few tunes would pay for a warm bed. It was in Outlands, in a town called Regoria, where we first ran across one another. And since then, she dragged me along with a whole bunch of adventurers, and misadventures too. Ah, Kid. He was a thief, and not just any thief. Just a few months shy of 17, already renowned as one of the realm's greatest. What's more, she was achingly beautiful, stylish, a joy to be around, and a dab hand at the campsite cooking, or she liked to claim. I don't think she's any of those. The truth was a little different. These bandits with a heart of gold you've heard about in the stories, the ones that steal from the rich and give to the poor. Yeah, that wasn't Kid's style. She was short-tempered, prone to lying, bossy, obsessed with money, and she rarely cared to listen to a single word anyone said to her. Also save soon. But she wasn't all bad, probably. Maybe. Sometimes she had her moments anyways. I glanced over my shoulder to see a shadow hovering behind us, blending into the darkness like smoke. Maggle. Also known as Maggle the Shade, he was Kid's partner, but even after 3 years, I still knew hardly anything about him. All I knew was around 30 years old, and not much of a talker, but he was one of heck of a mage. I heard that he and Kid had started working together way before I met her. He always covered the top half of his face with a mask, and I'd never seen what he looked like underneath. He was a man so mysterious that sometimes he seemed like he was an interloper from another world. It wasn't like Kid was exactly big on the details about her past, but Maggle? He might as well not have one. And Kid didn't seem to know much about a partner in crime either. What kind of man he was, what kind of life he lived before. Nothing. You might ask how I wound up being part of this merry band. Well, it's complicated. I guess you could say that life doesn't always turn out the way you think it will. Kid was always heading up a little raiding party and suddenly stopped dead. Look lively, boys, we got company. I guess now I should. We glanced around warily. Cold, cruel eyes emerged from the darkness. I heard a low growl. Dark shadows prowled through the night, surrounding us. A pack of wild cats. There must have been about 10 of them. A thrill of fear ran down my spine. Flustered, I pulled my knife from my belt. It calmly shifted in a fighting stance. Watch yourself. I don't reckon these buggers would be treated for rabies. The wildcats snarled and growled as they slowly closed in, drawing the noose tighter and tighter. Their eyes glinted in the darkness like fireflies. Strings eager spittle dripped wetly to the ground. And then one of them sent an alarming roar soaring to the moon, and the hunt was on. While I attacked, I slashed at a nearby wildcat with my knife. The beast tried to leap in the air, but I was already too close. I felt the blade make contact and was rewarded with a screech of pain. The wildcat jumped away, this time managing to put some space between us. It looked like I hadn't cut it very deeply. I stood my ground, changing my grip on the knife and waiting for another chance to attack. Sedge, behind you! Panicked by Kid's warning, I whirled around and came face to face with a pair of eyes blazing like hellfire. I defended myself. There wasn't any time to do anything but try to protect myself. In a moment of sheer desperation, I crossed my arms to guard my face. Instantly, I felt the wildcat's fangs seep into my exposed wrist. It had thrown itself bodily at me, bowling me over backwards. Ah! My arm was so powerful jaws, the wildcat pinned me to the ground and shook its head. I tried desperately to free myself, but it was clamped onto me like a bear trap, and there was no way of getting loose. Hey! Is it time for more Kato dialogue? Yes, it is. We are doing Radical Dreamers. The sound of Fang and Bone was sickening. But just then, the creatures recoiled with a screech. Kid had buried her knife deep into its gut. He quickly capitalized on his terror by giving it an almighty kick. Free of the wildcat, I staggered to my feet, holding the throbbing wound in my arm. I was breathing heavily. The grip of my knife was slick with sweat. I tightened my grip. With a kick like a bolt of lightning, Kid landed a clean hit on the flank of a nearby wildcat. He staggered before losing his footing, letting out a pathetic cry. The kid already moved in and finished it off. And then a roar of fire. A burning smell filled my nostrils, and next to me, a shrill screech pierced the air. Magil's fire spell engulfed the head of a nearby wildcat. It fled, darting off in the darkness like an arrow. I scanned the area. Only moments ago, we've been surrounded, but now there wasn't a single wildcat left. Menu Doko? Kid and Magil had either sent off the rest with their tails between the legs or paid them once and for all. You're dreaming if you think a pile of flea-bitten Molgies is going to stop us, Lynx. Kid crossed her arms and flashed a triumphant grin. Okay, here we go. It just didn't want to do it. Well, damn, there's only 3 save files. Meanwhile, Kid crossed her arms and flashed a triumphant grin. Meanwhile, I was panting heavily, and it felt like my legs were about to give out from under me. I collapsed to my knees, overwhelmed by what I'd been through. I'd taken a few hits, but I was fine otherwise. A couple of scars to talk about later, maybe, but nothing that would stop me from carrying on. Save and file 1. Are you hurt? Magil looked down to me, his face expressionless as ever. No worries, Mag. He'll be all right, said Kid, barging in to take a better look at me. He may be whining sook, but like it'll take more than a few scratches to kill this one. She was nothing if not sympathetic, but she was right. There was no time to be moaning my lot. We even haven't reached the manor yet. I dabbed my wounds with a tincture-soaked cloth and wrapped them around with bandages, then looked up at the other two. We're just getting started. We're just getting started, I grinned back, putting on a brave face on things. That's what I like to hear, Kid cheerily announced from close quarters, but her eyes turned cold, like a cool glow of the moon in the night sky. It's gonna be a long night. I nodded and tried my hardest not to utterly lose myself in her pale blue eyes. All right, let's get this show back on the road. She turned away and marched off deeper into the trees without looking behind to see if me and Magil were following her. Magil, of course, was already right behind her, his unhurried gait making it seem like nothing much had happened at all. I jumped back to my feet and chased after them. I'd be in for more trouble if I bargained for it if I got separated from them. The dark forest inside the manor's perimeter seemed to go on forever, a labyrinth of trees and boulders. The manor itself loomed in the distance, glowering on the vast grounds, and hidden within the veritable mountain of treasure just waiting for us. Lord Lynx was a noble who ruled the remote territory of Regoria. Regiora. How about that? Fuck you. Important don't arrive to fight save, and you might get screwed later because of an earlier fight. He was also Kid's mortal enemy. We were right there that night to steal a certain jewel he kept locked away in his most closely guarded vault, the Frozen Flame. The Frozen Flame was veiled in mystery, is said to be imbued with an uncanny energy, possessed of a beauty and clarity that make it a priceless treasure. Countless thieves had tried to steal it, and not one of them had come close to succeeding. Nor had any of them escaped the manor alive. And now it's our turn to try and sneak into this place of death. Led by a girl who had an ambition to make the impossible possible, a hunger for vengeance that drove her onward, and a desire for riches that could never be satisfied. As we pressed on through the tree-filled darkness, the shadows gave way, at last, revealing the true extent of the vast mansion. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what Viper Manor looks like. It kind of doesn't really look like that in the cutscenes. And plus, it kind of almost looks like Magus's castle a little bit. Finally, say your prayers, Lynx, because we're coming for you. Keeping the overgrowth and the shadows of the trees, we made our way to the manor walls in search of the means of interest. Huh? Why was that a lot lower than I thought it was? It's important to say, why is the Chrono Cross making you mad? I've never seen Trigger, so I don't know the contradictions. It's more towards the end. that I kind of started hating it a little bit more. And as I kind of like started stewing on it, it like makes no sense. Even like some of the cutscenes that they even show. Like, the moments the dragons awaken, they start talking about how they're going to take vengeance on humanity for ruining the world. But then they merge into the dragon god, and then it doesn't matter because the dragon god is just a time devourer. And the time devourer is Lavos. So, and there's this whole plot about the children of Lavos. Mankind being the children of Lavos. So it's just Lavos v Lavos. Your entire plot point about fucking, ooh, it's the, you know, nature versus humanity means jack all. Yeah, it's... So the name of the game is constantly trying to figure out how some of it's me, kind of, a little bit. Like, that's the problem. It's like you, okay, it's fine if you're going to sit back and go, nature versus humanity or whatever, but then when the people on the side of nature are also Lavos, which is what you're saying is what it is, then fuck you. No, fuck you. It's not even that. And what's stupid is that, like, that's not even the case, because they go off about the children of Lavos, but it's like humanity existed during 32 million BC. Like, Ayla existed, and they had like a certain form of intelligence. They, you know, they weren't just apes in caves. Like, fuck off with that shit. You retconned, like, essentially this entire tribe of humans. Okay, 65 million BC. The point is the prehistoric times. Have found the same penalty has come deep into the overgrowth and the shadows of the trees. We made our way to the manor walls in search of a means of entry. Eventually, we came to a terrace overlooking the palace, overlooking the garden. There was no signs of any guards nearby. The only thing that surrounded the manor was an uncanny stillness. This will lead us straight into the West Wing, just as well. We don't have any business with the rest of the manor tonight, said Maggle, gazing up at the dark building towering over us in the night. All right then, what are we waiting for? With that, Kid made a vault over the railing of the side of the terrace. Stop, Maggle hissed sharply. Remember what we're here for. Our main target is a vault and frozen flame within it. We focus on this above all else. Your vengeance is a secondary concern. Agreed? Glancing over his shoulder, Kid replied with a reluctant, yeah, don't get your knickers in a twist. But what happens if we happen to run into him? I'm going to knock that Drogo's block off, and neither of you or anybody else is going to stop me. I guess Kid wasn't going to get her way, or was going to get her way whether he liked it or not. Let's go, boys. The night's young. She cleared the railing with a sprightly hop and vanished inside the manor. I glanced towards Maggle and nodded in silence. We followed the Kid's lead and were soon inside Lord Lynx's lair. The darkness swallowed us whole. Let's see if I can... Corridor stretched off to the left and right of the terrace. It seems equally dark and chilly in both directions. Guess we'll go left. We pressed on through the darkness, down corridors that turned and twisted snake-like this way and that. Everything around us was still and silent, and it felt strangely like we were being watched. It was as if countless eyes were staring silently from the shadows. Why did it disappear? Okay, no, it wasn't that. We continued creepily, cautiously down the corridors, Kid moving proudly and stiffly like a cat stalking his prey, while in the shadows, Maggle, we pressed on in the embrace of the Weaver of Fate. God. You shouldn't auto do that. We took the corridor leading from the left-hand side of the terrace, eventually arriving at the intersection with some stairs. The path to the right led down the stairs. The path to the left was a dark side passage. The main corridor continued straight on. Hate doing that, but... Let's go into the side passage. We headed down this side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculate, polished door. Oh, let's go in. Kid gently pushed the door ajar and peeked inside the room. The next thing I knew, she slipped inside. Maggle and I followed. Looks like a study. The room was lit by moonlight coming from the long, slender windows, slanting down in pale beams to the darkness. It was pretty big for a study, with immaculate antique desks dominating the center. There was rows of bookshelves lined with thick, dusty old tomes. The walls in the rear of the room were decorated with paintings. The shelves, vases, painted plates stood before it. They all seemed to be curios from foreign lands. Well, obviously, desk first. I went over to the desk and started searching the drawers. There I found a neatly arranged set of pens, ink bottles, and other writing materials. Nothing of interest, in other words. A small portrait on the desk caught my eye. It was a picture of a young girl with a gentle smile on her lips. Who was she? That's the girl Link adopted. If you ask me, it wasn't cause he was looking to help the needy, said Kid, peering over my shoulder. We found the Clussy. We found an image of the Clussy. She wrinkled her nose into taste. Not even a looker. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It wasn't a loud knock, but from the bottomless silence of the night, it might as well have been a thunderclap. Kid and I stood bolt upright and turned toward it. Maggle, meanwhile, hid in shadows drifting from smoke. Panic, I whispered to the kid. It's like, fuck. Hide behind the door in the shadows. Quick, behind the door. We kept our bodies low as we silently and swiftly made for the back of the door. But the shadows would keep us hidden. We pressed our backs to the wall and did our best to steal our breathing. Slowly, the door opened. Flickering candlelight spread the doorway with a warm glow. I held my breath. But it seemed that whoever it was didn't mean to come in. They simply stood there. Strange. I thought I heard someone, but the Lord of the Manor is away, of course. Why would there be anyone in here? I've gotten over my nerves. Everything was fine until we heard the news that Pore was on the move. Pore. The figure quietly closed the door and plunging the room back into darkness, the voice trailed off to a whisper. We remained motionless, keeping our ears pricked for any sign of unwelcome return. All we heard were footsteps moving away. So Pore has made a move. Maggle emerged from the shadows, contemplating the news we've overheard. Kid, if the rumors are true, we might be able to find ourselves in a very difficult situation. This seemed to set her thinking too. Pore was a powerful nation that ruled the southern continent. I heard it was a prosperous land whose recent and sudden development has pushed it far ahead of its neighbors. Which made me wonder, what would its inhabitants want here out in the sticks? They couldn't be after the frozen flame too, could they? As valuable as it might be, a jewel was just a jewel in the grand scheme of things. I couldn't imagine it being an item of national interest. I mean, ultimately, it was just a pretty rock, right? Let them do what you want. If everyone's busy playing soldier, they won't be bothering us. Come on, we got things to do. She headed for the door. We left the room and made our way back to the side passage. Set it right here. We made our way back to the dark side passage leading from the study. Eventually, we arrived back at the intersection. Some said led down, the corridor branched left and right, and the right branch leading back towards the terrace. I guess. Let's check the left branch. Then we continued on and passed for the stairs and the side passage and emerged into the main corridor. We found ourselves in some sort of ornate double doors. Oh, we might as well go in. Kid gently pushed the heavy doors open and peeked inside. Doesn't look like anyone's in there. It seems at the main hall of the manor. This was a massive table, beautiful decorations on the wall, and thick columns decorated with sculpture of birds and beasts. Fixed to the wall in the back towards a tremendous pipe organ, towered a tremendous pipe organ, like a burnished black mountain. Dozens of candles provide dim, flickering light, sitting the corners of the room, dancing in and out of shadow. Several enormous portraits glowered down from on high on the wall. Were these members of Lynx's family? I was busy staring at the painting depicting a young husband and wife when I realized that their eyes had turned to look right at me. Okay, they hadn't. Don't worry, this isn't about to turn into some dumb ghost story. It just looked that way because the way of the flickering candles reflected against the glossy oil paints. Obviously. Probably. This place is giving me the creeps, and get a load of all these ugly mugs. There's nothing left for us here. Let's look somewhere else. Neither Mag or I had any objections. We left the hall, turned to the corridor. That I was like, why is there an alarm going off? And I realized that's TV in the other room. Yeah, okay. So there was some stairs going down to enter the right, a dark side passage. We head back to, okay, I guess now we're trying to go down to the stairs. I'm going to save again. Slowly we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the blackness as we went. At the bottom, the path split. The way to the left continued to an atrium that resembled some sort of plaza, while the path on the right was a winding passage that trailed off into darkness. I feel like I should go to the right. We went down the stairs and took the passage to our right. Eventually, we came across an ornate door on the right-hand side. Something smelled fresh and pleasant. Flowers? Was it coming from the inside? I want to continue. Dark passage, eventually found itself at a sturdy-looking, immaculately polished door. Kid sniffed the air, just like the thought. Something stinks here. I reckon we found the beast's lair, lads. In the darkness, Kid's lips twisted into a grin that turned my blood cold. No, I'll save it on this one. Went inside. Kid opened the door and slipped inside. It was Lynx's room, but he didn't seem to be around. The bug is gone as scrappered, cause he heard I was coming. There was something deeply unpleasant about the room. There wasn't anything unusual about the furniture and fittings. Not how they looked or how they were made, but taken as a whole, it all felt discordant. Was that a reflection of Lynx? A seemingly ordinary facade that hid a disturbing truth only some can see? Let's see what we can find. The desk drawers and paintings on the wall and the vase on top of the side table. We left no stone unturned. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious. But as I scanned the room, something unusual caught my eye. There was a pedestal in one corner of a significant-looking scarlet cloth drawn over it. I raised my hand towards it. Be careful what you touch in here, warned Maggle. Pulled my hand back timidly. But then the cloth flipped back with a flutter without me laying a finger on it. Did that thing just move by itself? Exclaimed Kid, with her eyes wide with surprise. Gripped by curiosity, we moved in to see what had been hiding. It was a large antique mirror of an elaborate decorated style I've seen before. It wasn't the kind of thing that would seem out of place in an old manor like this, and yet... Wait, something ain't right, said Kid. Meanwhile, I was captivated by the gaze of the statue of Venus reflected in the mirror. Shit! Suddenly, the eyes of the statue shone with a light. What is your desire? It spoke with a voice that was clear, yet smoky and husky. The mirror! It's speaking! I stammered. Ah, a whispering mirror, muttered Maggle as he's seen them 1,000 times before. What's one of those? Kid gave Maggle a quizzical glance. Magical mirror which spirits dwell. Its spirit can move freely between its own and other mirrors and will share its wisdom with those who ask. Perhaps we should ask it something? I decided to ask it about something I've seen on my mind about some time. Hold on. I wanna save again. Ask about Maggle. I want to know about Maggle's past, I said, casting a furtive glance in his direction. As you wish. The statue of Venus in the mirror turned her gaze downward. Statue of Venus... As she did, darkness spread across the mirror's surface. But nothing else took its place. There was only unending black. What did it mean? Leave this stupid mirror alone and get back to work, snapped Kid. He was always poking and prodding at other things in the room. I stepped away from the mirror and started searching the room again. I took another look around the room. I didn't rate our chances of finding much of interest, no matter how hard we looked. What was I going to do? I guess I'll trust in her. Hey kid, you've ransacked a few rooms in your time. Anything got your feet interest in tingling? She was scrambling amongst the stuff on the desk. At the sound of my voice, she immediately turned to face me. In each of her hands were a pen. Prepare to suffer, Lynx! Within minutes, the room was covered in scribbles and graffiti. It was everywhere. The furniture, the walls, even the floor. Your mom stinks and your face is like a squished tomato and your breath is like rotten fish. It was shocking stuff. And then she descended upon the whispering mirror, whose surface had returned to normal. Ah, please, I beg you, you mustn't, screamed the mirror helplessly. That's a load off my chest, said Kid, satisfied as she casually tossed pins to the floor. What the hell was that about? Not really sure. It was fun, though. And with that, she sauntered toward the door, clearly pleased with herself indeed. I felt bad for the mirror, so I stopped to give it a quick wipe before we left the otherwise completely ruined room. Porter stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps, eventually came across an ornate door on the left-hand side. Let's go inside. We found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. The knickknacks and curios dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and cozy-looking bed, meanwhile, suggest the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. Though the room was richly furnished, somehow it felt awfully lonely. Kit took a quick look around before commenting. This is Lynx's girl's room! Half-written letter on the desk and a teacup still warm suggests the lady of the manor was still nearby. But it didn't seem that anyone was here now. Decided to search the room. Some charming flowers, a discarded handkerchief, and a small bottle of perfume. Nothing that meant much to me, nor anything that seemed particularly valuable. Kid seems to have the same impression, scanned the room, clearly not expecting to find anything. The only item of note was an antique box, which bore a crest resembling a viper. Yeah, I think that's it's Maggle, Maggle, Kid, and the other thing. Because Maggle has blue hair, right? This led to one of the finely veneered drawers. Frills, lace, sequins greeted me with red, pinks, yellows, and a host of other vivid colors. A bounty of silk garments overflowed from within. Dresses, hey? Let's give us a look. Blonde hair's Kid, yeah. I'd been just about to close the door again when King comes up and started peering over my shoulder. She reached out her hand to touch one of them. I thought that she sensed a certain hesitation. I never worn anything this posh in my life. The gown she picked up was cut from a simple but beautiful and was decorated with a pale floral pattern on a white background. She held it up to her chest and took a gentle twirl around the room. She was as light as on feet as a woodland nymph. Fabric fluttered like flower petals, and she held the hem just so. In that brief moment, you can almost have called her dainty. Huh, stupid thing. Not exactly me, eh? I wouldn't say that. I think it really suits you. Oh, shut your gob, arse kiss. Her face turned an angry red. Come on, we got all night. The spell well and truly broken. She stomped out of the room. Continue, going right will take us to Lynx's room, meanwhile going left. I wonder what happens if I go back. Went down the passage, polished door. Lynx's room, and go. I'm assuming that we can do something else in the room. No one in figures, no matter how many times I can get used to it. There was too much about Lynx about it. If it wasn't for the whispering mirror being there to give us a hint or two, not that the hints were always helpful, I wanted to avoid coming here altogether. I walked over to it, open to have an insight. What is your desire? Asked the mirror, just like it always did. Well, there's a few things on my mind, I replied hesitantly, the eyes of saturated vision shone in light. I can only answer a single question at a time. Oh, that's a pain. I scratched the back of my head impatiently as I grumbled to that. Well, in that case... Alright, then tell me about yourself. I was filled with questions about the whispering mirror. The image of Venus in the mirror looked down and softly murmured, do you really wish to know about my past? Kid interrupted. Yeah, who the hell are you? I was born in the realm of mirrors close to 300 years ago. A realm of mirrors? Never heard of it. Maggle answered on the mirror's behalf. It lies on another plane separate from this world. My fellow spirits and I traveled the world, crossing from mirror to mirror. Kid interrupted again. Is that why you're only here sometimes? Alas, over the course of our travels, I became separate from the other spirits. The statue of Venus began to weep. I'm all alone in this world, she sobbed. Oh, if only I could just fade away. Her tears show no sign of stopping. Well, don't worry. If I ever met the other mirror spirits, we'll be sure to tell them about your predicament. Overwhelmed with pity, I failed to offer help somehow. Thank you. You're truly a kind man. The statue of Venus gave a gentle bow, and with that, the mirror returned to his usual state. It seems the spirit had moved on. We too shall be on our way. We left Lynx's room. Court. Leading the group as usual, the kids suddenly stop. What's that? No, okay. He jabbed a finger at something in the darkness. Gain safe. Gain safe! Shutting my eyes, I could see a pale white bundle of something shaking in the shadows. Huh, that's strange. I moved in front of the kid, try to get a better look. And then suddenly, the strange presence started crawling across the floor to us at an unbelievable speed. I didn't have time to brace myself. The white figure reached my foot and reared it to full height. It was a skeleton! The skeleton eyes stood face to face, as if the eye socket staring straight at me, or seemed to at the very least. What was I going to do? I can't say. Tackle the skeleton! I charged in tackling the skeleton. Yarg! There was a crunching sound and clattering of the bones as the skeleton was knocked back by the blow. Its body split clean in two at the waist. Better luck next time, muttered Kid dryly. As a response, the skeleton's upper body picked itself up from the ground and turned its skull towards me, balancing his body with its left hand and pulled the skull from his head with his right. What's it doing? Before I could get words out, it had heaved the skull at me. What was I going to do? Shit. I want to catch it. Thwit! I caught it with both hands and flung it and slammed it to the floor. I slammed the head of the skull to the ground. It smashed to pieces with a satisfying crunch. As soon as it had, the skeleton's torso collapsed in the lifeless heap. Yeah, look at that shit. Won't be troubling us anymore. Time to move on. Gib, save. Gibbet, save. Wait a sec. What's that? There was a leather bag on the ground. Contains some recently cooked meat. Lucky me, I bit into the meat without a moment's hesitation. After devouring the unexpected windfall, I felt a little better. Oi, where's my share? Busted. Pretended not to hear. I was doing great. I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe he ain't such a drogo after all. Just because of show, any old widow can make some of them themselves if they put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. Eventually, we came across an ornate door, left hand. It was Riddell's room. Lynx's daughter. Wait. Continuing down the corridor until we reach an intersection. There's a left turn in the corridor leading some stairs going upward. The corridor also continues straight towards the entrance. I kind of want to see the atrium.
Hey, listen.
She accompanied to do well in battle. She insults you if you fuck up too much. Well, yeah, that seemed kind of reasonable for her. Kid poked her head through the arch-shaped door and took a look around. Huh, it's big in here. Must be some kind of hall. He took a curious look around and then entered one after another. The atrium was like a beautiful plaza, complete with a statue that doubled as a fountain. Pillars and arches lined the walls, and in the center was a small pool of clear water, above which the statue stood. On the other side of the room, I could see an arched entrance, like the one we had just come through. Oh, that's cold! Kid was scooping up the water from the fountain. I went over to her, rested my hand on the edge of the marble basin, peered into the pool beneath. Shadows flickered under the water's surface. You reckon these fish are rare? As in, valuable? Kid leaned right over the edge. Couldn't see the bottom. I wonder how deep it was. The shadow of one of the fish grew larger and larger. Whoa! Sensing danger, Kid leapt back from the edge. Clack! A fish leapt out from the water and snapped at her, its jaws bristling with razor-sharp teeth. Its mouth closed shut on the air where she'd been moments before. With a splash, the fish darted back under the water. Piranodons! Deadly carnivorous fish with razor-sharp teeth and powerful jaws that could snap a monster's horn in half. Staring in horror, I watched as dark shadows began to gather in what little pool I could make out. The piranodons must have detected prey. Soon the room was filled with the sound of splashing and snapping as the fish teemed at the water's surface. Bloody hell! Even Kids was uneasy. She took another step back. How many piranhas were in the pool? The thought of what would happen if they all leapt clear of the water intact that at once crossed my mind. A bead of cold sweat rolled down my forehead. Suddenly, the water coming from the statue turned crimson and shot out a powerful jet that nearly touched the ceiling. Kid jumped back again. I stood in shock watching a torrent of water erupt from the statue. Scarlet water continued to gush out of the fountain. The pool grew redder and redder. It started to overflow. We looked on entranced, but the spell was soon broken when we realized that the water was starting to flow faster and faster over the rim of the basin. The piranodons began to jump and snap at the rotting surface with bloodthirsty glee. I brought to my sister by a dull slapping of the piranodon's hidden floor. We're rushing back the way we came. Kid, let's get out of here. In a panic, we splashed the water on back of the other side of the corridor we came. Okay, go all the way to... Oh, fuck. Thanks to Piranha, I stepped on my legs. I felt the searing pain, but I had to endure it if we had any hope of reaching the entrance. Breathing heavily, I found myself in the back of the corridor outside. Oh, that was a close call. That the whole thing was a trap, eh? Talk about Tristan. Lynx is even more of a sick bastard than I thought. I was about to say he wouldn't have to be if he didn't have a guard against people like her breaking in at home. But I thought the better of it. Well, at any rate, I think we can consider that a dead end. Let's go back. We should. Correct the choice. Ha ha. I'm gonna do that. Okay. Defeated, we left the atrium. Something caused Kid to stop and trek. Hello, hello, what do we have here? She pointed to the side of the entranceway into the hall. I found myself face to face with a sculpture of an old man's face. What a truly phenomenal beard. The sculpture's eyes seemed to gleam with life. A piece of marble. It almost seemed too realistic. It's the mouth of truth, announced Maggle. An enchanted statue that can tell when you're lying. If it catches you out, it'll bite your hand off. Maggle kept his explanation simple so that Kid wouldn't drift off before he got to the important part. Huh, so what's he doing here then? I suspect it's part of a greater mechanism. Stick your hand in his gob, do ya? Righto, let's see what happens, shall we? Yeah. Mischievous glint in her eyes, Kid darted over and stuck her hand in the mouth with a moment's hesitation. She stood there for a moment waiting, but it didn't take long for her to get bored. Huh, nothing. Suddenly she had an idea. I had an idea. Hey kid, who's the greatest thief who ever lived? Huh, me of course, you drop. Oh. Kid answered without a moment's hesitation, and then suddenly her face had twisted with pain. The teeth of the marble statue had clamped down on her hand. It bit me, she cried. Knock it off, everyone knows it's true. Ow! The sculpture bit her again as soon as she spoke. You little... A cold sweat formed on Kid's forehead. The sculpture was tightening its grip. It won't let go until you say something true. Despite the obvious urgency of the urgency of the situation, Maggle was a matter of fact as ever. Just say anything, Kid. Anything, as long as it's the truth. Obviously, Kid wasn't listening. Instead, she just kicked awkwardly at the statue. Ow! Boy, Beardy, let me go of me bloody hand! She planted her feet on the inside of her mouth and tried her hardest to pull herself out. She heaved, kicked, stamped, grunted, and strained. And then finally, her hand popped free. I was taken aback by what I witnessed, but I couldn't say a word. See, I told you it was the truth! Kid raised her hand in air triumphantly, as if to demonstrate. I could see the heavy bite marks. The sculpture hadn't come away from the struggle unscathed either. Kid's attempts to break free her hand free had led cracked in several places. Maggle silently pointed at part of it. I went to take a closer look and saw a pale flesh-colored tongue. I expect we're supposed to put something there, commented Maggle. Something? What exactly? I replied. She stood for a moment and lost in thought. And then she started to unload all the knickknacks she's been carrying. A strange collection of odds and ends pulled out from her pockets, her boots, and even from a braid. Alright, sirs, now it's your time to have a go at the stupid statue. Kid grinned at me, holding an assortment of knickknacks out of the palm of her both hands. I guess she decided to whatever further horrors the statue had in store, she'd rather not face them herself. Nice, Kid. Real nice. Grumbling to myself, I reached out to pick an item. I chose a small silver file. Stifle petard. A vellum scroll to not my time. You know what? Put a scroll in. Fuck it. I picked up a particular piece of parchment. Praising myself, I shoved it in the mouth of truth. Haha, nice one, Mr. Master Thief. You think it's a magic scroll or something? Kid doubled over with laughter. Guess that didn't work, but she then pulled it out again. Oops! My hand slipped and the scroll unfurled. It was filled with strange symbols. Noticing the confused look on my face, Maggle looked up. It's a decoding chart for the Imperial Guard's field reports. Huh. Well, that's all gibberish to me. Wouldn't be much of a code if it wasn't, would it? Kid muttered witheringly. It was too embarrassed to reply. Once I clawed back at some of my pride, but attempted to recover. You'll have to walk me through this sometime. She pouted and looked away. So, you can't read it either? Boy, I can pick... can I pick my moments? Fine, if you're not going to take this seriously, we're leaving you behind. Sometimes it can be cold as ice. I really don't have done it. She made to leave. I grabbed her gently by the shoulder. Look, I'm not messing around. I'm sure the next idea is going to work. I believe it when I bloody well see it. Kids to sin seemed convinced. The stakes were high and looked again at the collection Nick Nice and chose. I guess not to waste time on it. Crap, is this game... It is a visual novel. This game was made, originally it was for the Satellaview, which is a SNES, but you're allowed to kind of download games onto the system. It was Japan only, so... Yeah. So yeah, it's a visual novel. So essentially I'm doing a visual novel for tonight. Literally a year after Cronus cost the US race. Yeah. I lingered for a moment, but pulled my hand away. It didn't seem like any of them was what we were looking for. Alright, let's just forget about it for now, muttered Kid, stowing all of her valuables. I was sure we'll find a use for this stuff. Whatever, best get moving, eh? Defeated, we turned and then left the atrium behind us. Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna make sure. Rattle. It stopped us. There's something there. No, it doesn't work like that. I listened carefully. Rattle, rattle, rattle. A figure appeared in darkness on the other side of the corridor. It's a skeleton! We ready ourselves for a fight. What was I gonna do? I attacked. Come on, then. I leapt at the skeleton and lashed with his sword. The blood dripped from my face. The tip of the blade has scratched my teeth. Eat! Alert bang panic. Hope you brought your brown trousers, grumbled Kid. We scared off against the skeleton, threw the sword it was carrying to the ground, and took a step forward. And it twisted his body into a strange pose. Wait, is it doing what I think it is? Proceeded to contort itself further, adopting the shape that can only be described as highly suggestive. For a moment, no one knew quite how to respond. What the bloody hell? What should we... Wait, Kid, look at Mag! Maggle seemed completely bewitched. There was no way he'd be able to be any use in this state. What were we going to do? Maggle, pull yourself together! I tried my hardest to get through to him, but he just carried on, staring into space with a vacant look in his eyes. What the hell is with him? What kind of weirdo gets his head turned by his bloody skeleton? Kid muttered Kid, turning his back to face our foe. You have to pay for it. Wait. Oh shit, yeah, thank you. Actually, yeah, that reminds me. Fuck, I'm stupid. I was like wondering why like none of the rewards were going off, and I forgot that I keep forgetting to turn them on. I need to remember that. I need to remember that as soon as I come out of whatever. Please forgive. Ow! God, there's so many of these. Okay. All of them are turned on. Yeah. Man, I think this thing is too loud. There you go. Well, it can't be helped. It's only a pack of bones. We can handle this. She lunged towards the creature. The skeleton brought down the sword, but Kid nimbly dodged from the sidestep to the left and took advantage of the momentum to kick it into its right side. Well, in the spine, close to the waist, anyways. Crunch! The bones shattered, separating the skeleton into two halves.
You suck!
You did it! Piece of cake! The skeleton wasn't quite done yet, though. So pointing his upper body with his left hand, he quickly picked himself back up, and then with his right hand, he flung his sword at me.
Hey, work a little harder.
Okay, if I dodge to the right, if it's on its right... What? The sword sliced into my shoulder. What? I didn't pick anything. Oh god, fuck off. I fell to my knee and closed my room. Take this. Kid roasted the skeleton, shot his head. I was about to put something, but then it did the thing. Fuck, what? You alright, Serge? Yeah, I think so. Hold on. How do I... Okay, hold on. We're resetting. We're resetting. These are time sensitive. Fuck off. The fact that time sensitive. Hold on. We're going to retry. This one. Okay, we're gonna have to make sure we. Medication, stick a hand in gob, blah 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 blah.
I see you have Namekian form now.
Yeah, there is a thing of being bald. It's still weird because you're just going to see, like, you could eventually see the back of my head. He gets the stamp, stray, whatever, blah 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 blah, pop free. Just gotta move to the next point. I kind of wish I can go faster, but yeah, saving often is going to be the big thing. Okay, not to waste my time on this. Let's do that. 6. Yeah. Okay. Now we got to deal with the skeleton. Wait! Suddenly the darkness felt opaque. Something like a thick haze floated in the air in front of us, and then took form. Like someone blowing smoke into a person-shaped bottle. It was robed in ragged shroud, and sunken eyes glinted menacingly. It was the burning hatred that lingers even after death given form, a being driven by the hatred of all living things. A ghost! Bugger! That's us out! Kid bit her lip. There wasn't anything she or I could deal with as enemy that was no physical body. A voice boomed out from behind me. Maggle had become casting a spell. I jumped behind Maggle. I knew it was useless. But I drew my knife, running over to try to... Maggle cast me a glance, continued his incantation without missing a beat, then grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and threw me at the ghost. I emitted a strangled scream of horror. I'd probably never be able to repeat again, as I tried to brace myself before I crashed face first into the wall. But the impact I was expecting never came. The core of the ghost, where his face seemed to be, had more substance than the rest of it. I didn't just slip through it like I thought it would. I oozed through it like I was stuck to some kind of goo. Ye gods, it was disgusting. More disgusting than anything I'd ever known. And it was impossibly cold? It felt like it was draining all the heat right out of my body. Like draining my life force itself, in fact. I struggled to break free, but I could find no purchase in the gooey ectoplasm. The coldness became more and more intense, and soon I didn't even know what cold meant anymore. This could be it for me, I thought. I was consumed by despair. And then there was a surge of heat through my muscles and my neck in place where Maggle had grabbed me just a moment before. At the same time, the incantations echoed in my mind, and my vision was filled with clear blue light. Serge! Oh, Serge! You're still with us? Someone was slapping me on the face. Someone who could seem to be enjoying it immensely. Kid, stop it, damn you! I leapt to my feet, wide awake again in an instant. Mag, did you really have to use me like that? It's like, fuck it, this is Konosuba. Fuck it. When dealing with foes who attack the mind, it is simply to lure them in with bait, then use their intended prey's consciousness as the conduit in order to make an assault from the astral plane. A direct magical attack would have meant a lengthy battle, a far less elegant solution, he replied without a trace of guilt. Alright, let's keep moving. Kid gave the order to continue, and seemingly completely oblivious to my brush with death. I was doing great. It felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe you say same go at all. It just goes to show you any other world. Okay, Glim mischief. So I made the correct solution when I did that. Whoops, actually I should have done it on this one. Yeah, I kind of did look it up that it had multiple endings. We are going to try to go for at least one of them and then see what the fucking special ending is in the credits. Leaving the atrium behind us, we immediately found stuff informed by paddling upward, dark patch. So I guess we'll just go back up the stairs. With Kid leading the way, we saw a clown and nimble scare face. We found an intersection. Left letters to Terrence. Let's go back down the terrace. Kept falling. We went out to. Let's go out into the terrace. We haven't done that. We returned to the quiet terrace overlooking the garden, and then I talked to Maggle. You're doing well tonight, sir. You're less green than when we first met. What can I see in Maggle's face was betrayed no emotion, but I thought I can feel the faintest friendly gaze from beneath the mask. Right, dust yourself off and let's get moving. We got work to do, said Kid. I said that, but talked to Kid. All right, Sage, you finally started to learn how to get your hands dirty, ain't ya? I guess people really can change if they put in the effort. Kid's eyes shone with an impish playfulness. Well, she hadn't seen anything yet. We should go back inside. We're not here for fun, muttered Maggle. He said that, but okay, we had him back on. So I guess we should go to the right now. Yeah. Go right. A short way along the corridor, running the right-hand side of the terrace, we found an ancient-looking door, again on our right. Kid pressed an ear against it and listened for any sign of life. Dead quiet, don't reckon anything. The open door. In we go! Kid stilled her breath and reached for the handle. The door wasn't locked, but it swung slowly open. What's this room supposed to be? This place is a dump! Kid has poked her head in through the door, taking a quick peek to see if there was anyone inside, and disappointed by what she found. The room was large and littered with particular-looking machinery and knickknacks, all of which was covered in dust and seemingly being dumped there haphazardly. Everything looked like it had been rusting for a very long time. The ends of the room were completely dark, and it was impossible to tell how big it was, or even what the walls and floor looked like. It seemed the managed inhabitants had turned the old clock tower into a makeshift storage space some time ago. Oh god, we have to go through here to fight Dracula, don't we? This is gonna be tough. You're reading really fast and hard to understand. Oh, damn, if I guess it kind of is. I stepped warily inside. Leave that alone! I looked towards Maggle and saw a kid trying to pull something from the shadows. It was a huge sword that appeared very old indeed. You don't need that old bludgeon. It only get in the way. As much as the antique as it is, it won't fit too much on the market in that condition. Yeah, I reckon it might, you know. There's plenty of collectors who love old bits of junk. Well, some old bits of junk. Pouting, the kid left the sword where she stood. At least that's where she put it back gently. It was there we heard a voice from the shadows. And what exactly are you doing here, I just about jumped out of my skin. Who's there? Kid and Maggle turned to face the voice, ready for a fight. A wizard crone emerged from the shadows. She was hunched over, wore a hood draped over her face. I could tell at a glance that she wasn't just old. She was positively ancient. It's some doddering old bag. What do you think you're doing sneaking up on us like that? His shoulders relaxed as the tension left her body. Maggle, however, continued to give the war woman a piercing stare. Oh, what an impish little thing you are. Here to visit an old friend, perhaps? Or not in the dead of night, I suspect. The crone narrowed her eyes. Let's get a closer look at you. Ah, yes. You must be here to get your revenge on Lynx. How did she? My heart jumped. She seemed to know exactly who we were. We were in trouble. What if she sounded the alarm? We have given up on the treasure and run for our lives. What were we going to do? Fucking tell her that she's right. So what if we are? Kid narrowed her eyes right back at the crone. What's it to you if we get our revenge on old Lynxy boy? You gonna do something about it? You never change, do you? The crone chuckled madly, her small frame shaking. Ah, the boldness of youth, yes. That's the spirit. You... what? Kid looked at the crone completely confused. I was no less mystified. What the heck are you on about? Oh, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago. Yes, it was around that time that a innocent young thief stole into the manor looking to singe Lord Lynx's whiskers. Huh. Yeah, I wasn't gonna lie. She can't have been much older than 10 now that I think about it. Shocked, my gaze turned to Kid. A wet glint had appeared in Kid's eyes, but her glare was like ice. It certainly felt as if the temperature in the room had suddenly dropped below freezing. With a chuckle, the crone continued her story, pretending not to have noticed the change in the mood. She was an orphan, you know, came after Lynx to avenge a woman who loved her like her own daughter. But all the vengefulness in the world couldn't change the fact that she was only a little girl. There was no match for Lynx's men. Sadly, they quickly captured her. Lynx is the kind of man one would fear to have for an ally, never mind a foe. Had it not been for the timely assistance of a friend of hers, the girl would have certainly been executed. The way people of the manor told it, the very shadows pitied the girl and rushed to spirit her away. I wonder how much of that tale could be true. I have nothing but sympathy for those who know failure. You can't win all the time. And sometimes, against all odds, they really can be foiled, and the clockworks of history set into disarray. No, the ones I have no patience for are ones who don't not recognize their failure, or who fail and choose to give up as a result. The crone looked from underneath her hood, stared Kid directly in the face, and grinned. Kid's anger faded, giving way to a dumbfounded expression. If you wish to steal the jewel from Lynx, if you truly wish to triumph, you will have to let go of a treasure of your own, Kid. For as long as you cling on to it, the hands of your clock will never move. They'll say exactly whether you came to rest all those years ago. Who are you? Oh, me? Well, I'm just an old bag, like you said. I do apologize. I must have taken up a lot of your time with all my babbling. I'll leave you in peace. Oh, before I go, the crone turned to face me. You seem to be injured, little man. If you wish, I can take a look at your wounds. With all the attention... We are saving? We are saving? With all the attention suddenly turned to me, I panicked a little. Sure. What? Alright then, please do. The crone muttered a few words as the bony fingers drew in signals in the air. A pale, gentle light began to surround my body, filling me with a strange warmth. Strike a light! That's no ordinary spell! Kid was impressed. I felt my wounds healing, heard a nostalgic melody that soothed the wounds in my heart. Before I realized it, the crone was gone. Hey lady! Kid strained her eyes, scanning the darkness. There was no one to be seen. Her calls went unanswered. Who the bloody hell was that? Kid looked like he'd just woken up from the floor of the Laughing Pig after a few too many. What did she mean about you having to let go of a treasure? Well, we won't be able to finance here. Time to move on. Nagel brought us back down to earth, emotionless as always. It almost seemed as if he was thought nothing had happened at all. Yep, visual novel. A kid walked quietly to the door, keen to move on. Hold it, you. Just as I thought about to fall a kid out of the room, she jabbed me in the side of the elbow. You stingy little burger, Serge. Why didn't you tell her to share some of that healing magic with the rest of us? Classic kid. The door led back outside in the corner, which shut off left and right. Right word led the depths of the manor, while the way left back to the set. We're going to continue to go right. Continuing down the corridor, we came to a rather sturdy-looking door on our left. A little further down the stairway leading upward. Well, this door clearly meant to keep something safe. If there's something kind of treasure behind it, my name ain't Kid. Yeah, that's the smell of cold hard cash, all right, she muttered to herself as she began to inspect the door more closely. Let's go inside. Whoop. Bah! What am I, stupid? Of course it's bloody locked. Kid had to try the door handle a few times before he gave me a grumpy kick. Bloody door's got a magic barrier on it, and the bloody barrier's got a barrier of its own to boot. It'll take more in me than put my boot to get through all of that. I see. Then unless we find a key, we don't have hope of getting inside. I reckon I can handle the key hunt, especially if that idiot Lynx who's hidden it. If we can find his room, I'll sniff it out in 2 seconds flat. Just you watch. There's a little more than we can do here, so we decided to look elsewhere. We'll continue up the stairs. The corridor ended at the foot of some stairs. With kids in the lead, we headed upwards. It was dark and the stairwell was narrow. We watched our footing carefully as we climbed. The stone of the steps was worn smooth with age, and I lost count of how many they were as we spiraled onward and upward. An awful sense of foreboding haunted me. I had no idea why, but it felt as though we were marching to the gallows. We arrived at the top of the stairs, were greeted by an old heavy door looming in the silence. All was deathly silent, and the still, clammy air added a sense of ominous apprehension. Something's very wrong here, I muttered without thinking. I heard cursed whispers from beyond the door, Maggle added, doing nothing to lift the mood. Ah, grow up, will you? Kid shot back at us derisively. She was already examining the door. Well, it ain't locked. I don't hear anyone inside. Well, I'm gonna save, kid. Fuck you. Before I even do it. Alright, here goes! Kid tried to handle the door open. With a slow, heavy swing, revealed what lay beyond. Good lord. It was a small cylindrical room that appeared to be inside one of the stone towers. It was completely deserted, and there was no windows. What's this supposed to be? Something about this place gives me the creeps! Still standing in the doorway, King seemed suddenly taken aback. There might be something in here. Let's take a closer look. Closer look at that bloody empty room? Pah! Might as well, I guess. We did climb all them stairs. She stepped through the door, grumbling under her breath. I scanned the room and noticed something on the floor. The flagstones were covered in a dozen narrow scratches, and in the places were thick and black stains. Something in the stains spoke of a horror that no amount of scrubbing would ever wash away. A malice and a sadness beyond imagining. There was something written here. Crouching in front of the wall, Maggle expected some brownish markings that looked more like the same stains. Someone's carved letters into the walls, scrambled them using blood magic. Kitty had gone over to take a look. Looks pretty old, hard to read too. Some of it's been worn away. Let's see. I cannot hang out much longer. My only hope now is to leave the Ascian signet in the room. The Ascian signet? Suddenly, the door slammed shut. We jumped to our feet with a start. From above us, we heard the unsettling creaking sound. The walls and floor began to tremble. What the hell's going on? Kids darted around the room as he desperately tried to figure out what was happening. The creaking sounds from above continued, and the ceiling moved obviously closer. Up there! Yeah, we're in one of these types of places. We walked right into a bloody trap. Kid bit her lip. We gotta do something fast. We don't have time to think about this. Smash down the wall. Good idea. This guy has some hidden door or something somewhere, yelled Kid. Panicked, we tried thumping the walls to see what we could find. All we came up with solid and unyielding stone. The edge of one of the sitting blades sliced into my forehead. There was no time. What were we gonna do? Barge the door down? Yarg! Kid sprinted the door like an arrow, slamming into the shoulder first, but it was far too heavy. Her light frame bounced right off. Damn it! Maggle raced toward the door like the wind, smashing into it with a fierce force. It made a creaking sound and shook from the impact, but stood firm. Desperately, I hurled myself at it too. The shock of the impact rushed my body, but it was no good. Meanwhile, the rusting creaking from above continued as the ceiling inexorably journeyed downward. And to make matters worse, now countless blades were popping in and out. Surge! Maggle, this is gonna take the three of us! Timing our blows, we all charged the door at once. Once, twice, a third time, and then the door was open. We collapsed in a heap in the corridor outside. What? Behind us, we heard the sound of a bladed ceiling grinding on the stone floor of the towered room. The metallic scraping noise it made was awful. We could only look in silent horror as the fate we so narrowly evaded. Machinery continued for a short while before slowly coming to a stop. It seemed the ceiling trap had finally finished its grisly work. Bugger me, that was a nasty surprise. Is some sort of execution chamber? Maggle continued to be methodic. In any case, that writing Mini Acacia. Yeah, what was that all about, I asked. The Acacia Dragoons, elite knights orders serving General Viper, who once covered the territory of Galesburg to the west. Formerly Knightly Order, I should say. They were wiped out more than a decade ago by the lord of this very manor, no less. Uh-huh. Thanks for the history lesson, Mag. Kid rose to her feet and panting off the dusk. Too bad we're not here for fairy tale nights. Come on, we got a lot more exploring to do. Maggle shrugs silently, and we headed back down to the stairs. With Kid and Lee, we headed downstairs. Can I go back? I want to go back. I should also... let's put it on this. You still want to go in there, Serge? Hey, feel free, but I ain't in the mood to get squashed flat in the ground into crystal. And then she took a helpful look around, looking close. Don't tell me, the torch stuff isn't your thing, is it? I sighed and slumped my shoulders. I just want to see if there's... okay. So there's nothing, go back. I'm just sitting back and wondering if there was anything else in that room. I just wanted to see if there was anything else. Okay. I guess the only other thing I can think of... continue. Suddenly the darkness felt opaque. Something thick haze floating in the air, and it took like some blown person-shaped bottle. A ghost bucket that's us out. There were my... Maggle has begun to come... Okay, blah, 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 blah. The same thing, right? This was the thing that, happened the first time, so we're gonna do the same thing again. Oh, sir, stop it, kid, damn it, god damn it, Mag, did you have to use me like that? I feel like this is probably going to be the biggest issue of the game if I have to encounter the same enemies over and over again. Oh, I taken a few knocks, but I was alright. A scrape or two won't stop me. Maybe it's such a drug overall. I'll go show you what it can do. Kept following the corridor. You know what, Sai? Let's go back to the study. Rattle, kiss on me. There's something there. Listen, call it rattle, rattle. Figure darkness to the other side of the corridor. It's a skeleton. We ready yourself from it. What was I gonna do? That's the situation. We squared up against the skeleton. It threw the sword at it. It was carrying the ground and took a step forward. Okay, strange pose. Mag seemed to be bewitched. Stab Maggle out of it. Can't be handled in bag of bones. He learned when he was brought down the sword and nimbly started to the side. Crunch of bones. You did it. Piece of cake. Wasn't done yet. It pick a body lamp. Then with the right hand, it flung its sword at me. So I will dodge to the right because I tried to throw myself out of the path of the oncoming sword. Shunk! But it slid into my thigh as it flew past. Ah! I fell my knee, clutching the rune. Take this! Kid rushed the skeleton, shattered his skull with a mighty kick. The bones of its upper body fell to the floor with a clatter. Then finally, the creature lay still. You alright, Serge? Yeah, I think so. That's dealt with now. It turned her attention back to Maggle. Can't believe this Drogo, though. She brought the fist down hard on his head. Maybe this will wake you up. Now, if we're done here, let's get a bloody move on. What was I? Oh, ow! Wait a second. What was that? There's a leather bag on the ground containing a sparkling gem. Now we're talking. Kid's face lit up with joy. Nice find, Serge. What a beaut. Kid snatched it away, leaving me to settle for the compliment. Whew. I've taken a few knocks, but it was alright. Scrape 2. Maybe it's such a Drogo after all. Go show you anywhere to... Maybe that's not what it really needs to be. Oh, I should save again. Fuck it. This was the study. Let's go inside, because we didn't exactly check everything in the study. So if we don't have time to go, we're not magically find something useful by trying the same bloody room over and over again. Let's go someplace else. There was a tinge of annoyance in Kid's voice, but she wasn't being unreasonable. Without some kind of lead, we were wasting a night trying to find something. We left the room and retraced our steps. I guess downward again. Blackness at the bottom, half split. Atrium is in some plaza. Yeah. Let's go right again. Leading group kids suddenly stop. What's that? She dropped her fingers in the darkness, staring in my eyes. You can see wild blunder, something shaking in the shadows. Huh, that's strange. I made him fun to get bad. Look, strange person crawled. Oh, here we go. We're doing the same skeleton again, but this time it's the one that tackled the skeleton. Better luck next time, Kid joined dryly. Balance lemon, pull skull. What are you doing now? I was going to catch it and then slam it to the ground. Yeah, okay. So if this is going to be how it is, like, I just have to figure out how to do these things in such a way where I don't get hit. Oh, I've taken a few knocks, but I was alright. Scrap 2 won't stop me. Maybe it says to Drago. So yeah, I'll make something good mischief. We left the atrium, continuing down the path ahead. Eventually we came to an ornate door to the right-hand side. There's Riddell's room, Lynx's daughter. You know what? Let's go back inside. Found myself in a tidy, welcoming room. The knickknacks and curios dotted the place seemed to be well loved. Stately desk and luxury. Though the room was richly furnished, it felt somewhat awfully lonely. A half-friend on the desk and teacup still warm suggested the manor was still near. A window was slightly ajar, bringing in some much-needed fresh air. What? It seemed that someone had only been here moments ago. Let's come back later. We left Riddell's room from... Passed outside the room, continued left and right. Right was Lynx's room. I guess let's go back to Lynx's room and ask. Because we could ask the mirror about the other thing. About the little statue. Or the piranhas. Or piranodons. Try to figure out how to deal with that. I knew he wouldn't be here. We started looking for any signs of the key to the vault. Maybe she can help. Kid, thrusting her chin towards the mirror. I gently pulled the soft curtain from the mirror and stared in the glass. It was dark, like the surface of a lake at night. What is your desire? I asked where the key to the vault and the Lynx was. I asked about kids' measurements. No. We'll ask for the key to the vault. Do you know what the key to the vault is? The mirror's reflection rippled and changed to reveal a room with numerous bookshelves. A deep, somber voice. You'll find the key in the place I revealed, the study. It is inside a book with a purple cover in the furthest bookshelf from the door. The image of the study vanished from the mirror and the voice went silent. It appears the spirit. Okay. To the study! As I made to leave the room, the low voice rumbled through the air, stopping me dead in my tracks. Beware! He knows. Was that the voice in the mirror again? What did it mean? Hurry up, or we'll be leaving you behind, Serge, called Kid from the outside. Blessed, I rushed after her. I'm guessing. I don't have any guide open. Like, y'all can... I can show you both of my... I can show you everything that's open right now. Like... My entire bar is right now... Whoops. Shouldn't do this. Terrible. No, that ain't it. Yeah, some of these have been either lucky guesses or how I would assume everything. Like, this is my other monitor right this second. Let's see, we got, here's my tabs currently, which 2 Twitch tabs, one of them being this, and my media tab. This is just blank because in case somebody wanted to link something. We got Discord, bots, stuff like that, but nothing else. Whoops, that's Stream Elements. Whoops. The corridor stretched out beyond the door. We retraced our steps. Eventually came across an ornate door on the left-hand side. It was Bell's room. We continued. We continued down the corridor until we reached an intersection. There was a left turn in the corridor leading some stairs upward. The corridor continued straight on to the entrance. We go left and then to the side passage. Uh, and once you die, though, I'll forgive you. We headed down the side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculately polished door. This was the study. Let me save again. There we go. Right, let's find this key. Light on his feet as always, Kid moved in the center of the room. Where did the mirror say was, Serge? He was asking me. How was I supposed to remember? The book with the blue cover. It was a pop-up. Fuck, there's so many of these. Oh god, but it's purple cover far away. I think it's supposed to be the one with purple cover in the furthest bookcase. Alright, let's see. Seeming to take my word for it, Kid made her way to this case in question. Right, this one. Purple cover, purple cover. Aha, this has gotta be it. Kid pulled out a book from the bottom shelf. Nigel and I watched as he opened it. The pages were hollowed out and hidden inside was an old key decorated with strange symbols. Nailed it! Nice one, Serge! Kid snatched the key from inside the book. Right, time we finally get a look at this treasure. Having got what we came for, we left the study. A scream pierced the darkness, turning my blood to ice. I realized that a pair of crazed, blood-red eyes were staring in the depths of my soul. It was a griffin! In a panic, I tried to slip the knife from my belt. Before I could draw my weapon, the griffin had spread its powerful wings and swooped towards me in an almighty screech. I was knocked back and sent rolling across the ground. I gasped with pain and as the wind was knocked out of me. Serge, you're okay? Every nerve in my body was screaming with pain. I held back the groans and staggered to my feet. I looked up to see the massive griffin in front of me. Its hellish red eyes stared down its beak. It was going to attack. What could I do? I guess I ducked. Almost by reflex, I ducked the attack. The creature lunged at me with its razor-sharp beak. Ah! A sharp pain tore through my shoulder. Clutching my ruined shoulder, I rolled away to put some distance between us, and then turned to face the griffin again. As the beast's mad eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. I guess I attacked. I reversed my grip on my knife and plunged into the griffin's neck with all my might. The griffin's body contorted with agony. Driven mad with rage, the griffin shook its head this way and that. I quickly pulled my knife from its neck and rolled away to put some space between us. Don't move, Serge, yelled Kid from behind me. Suddenly, she landed on my shoulders and leapt up in the air. Crack! A knee crashed in the side of the creature's skull, making a crunching sound I could feel in my bones. The griffin screeched in agony. And then it turned its mad, crazed eyes towards me, where I lay on the floor, having been used like a springboard by Kid. Just my luck. It was going to attack. What can I do? I guess jump back? Almost by reflex, I jumped back, but the griffin's talons were soon followed by its head. Ah! A sharp pain through my waist. Clutching my wounded stomach, I did my best to regain my footing, but turned to face the griffin again. As the beast's red and mad eyes glared at me, I definitely tightened my grip on my knife. Plunged in the griffin's neck, and it turned its head aside, knocking my hand back at the last moment. The impact sent me rolling to the floor. I desperately tried to tight grip my knife. Don't move, Serge! Still on my shoulder and cracked the thing again. The griffin stiffened, suddenly become completely rigid. It rolled its eyes in the back of its head and fell to the ground with a mighty crash. We've done it! We've actually managed to defeat a griffin! More like Kid managed to defeat a griffin. Whew, I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by it though, but I was glad it was over. God, that was terrible. Ugh, I was a mess. My body was screaming. I feel like I need to retry that. Hold on. We'll just reset. Streamers. Side passage into the study. Game. There we go. At the end, we come to an old Palmer store. Study. We'll just head back inside. We'll try this again. Same thing over and over again. Oh, I gotta wait for all of these to make their way forward so I can get purple cover in the far bookcase. Hey, Brother Mouse, how am I liking it? Actually, I'm kind of liking it, except for the battles. The battles are kind of like try to figure out how to do it, and like we've had a couple of fights where I pretty much like did it pretty easily. So like I'm actually enjoying it. I think it's actually a decent it's decent. Bookshelf. I just decided to reset because of the griffin. I should have saved. Okay, I can still save. Wow, okay, that was... Okay, the griffin thing was completely random. Never mind. Back to the intersection. I guess we go to the main hall again. Go in, attack, yada yada said. I told you to... Well, yeah, but like, I'm not paying that much attention. Main corridor, I found on some... Oh, wait, this... No, wait. Wrong one. Turn back. Eventually, it leads to things. I pass it straight. We go straight on back to the terrace. Keep following the corridor. Keep going. And then... we'll save again. Something safe. Yep. Went inside. This should do it. Kid slipped the key we found into the lock. Lines of magical light flashed across the surface of the door and vanished as various magical barriers were dispelled. Wow. Up, down, left, right, blue, red, green, every color under the sun, and then it was all quiet and the darkness of the manor returned. Right, we're in! With a creak, the heavy door gently swung open. As soon as I saw what was inside, I gave a gasp. Kid stepped inside. Whoa! We've hit the mother lode! Out of the darkness loomed a veritable mountain of gold, silver, priceless works of art, and exquisite trinkets. Kid looked at it. She was on the verge of drooling at the sight of it all. But what thief wouldn't have been? After all, this was the kind of hoard that few people would ever come across in their lifetime. The small fraction of this vast amount of riches would have seen even the most careless spendthrifts set for life. Yeah. Our goal is the frozen flame, ignore the rest. Maggle spoke with the icy dedication to our mission. He had not even batted an eyelid at the sight that greeted us. Yeah, I know. She was disappointed, of course, but she was soon set about scanning the room for the objects of hunt. Wait, is that it? Look, at the pedestal over there. I turned to see what Kid was pointing out. There it was, a small yet perfectly formed jewel that gave off a pale red light. A jewel that looked like a flickering fire suspended in time. Hey, Sean, it's going pretty great. Oh. Okay. Hey, it's going good, Sean. We're playing Radical Dreamers, the prequel to Chrono Cross, which is a visual novel. Spend time. The frozen flame. Silently, Maggle rocked over to the pestle, and I called out, "Wait, we have to be careful." You're right. This is Lynx we're dealing with, after all. I might as well very well be trapped. We should be on our guard. We need to be quick about this. But fine, have it your way, grumbled the Kid, looking away. Maggle examined the pedestal for a short while, then paused. We were wise to be cautious. Placing left hand on the base of the pedestal, he muttered an incantation, drawing quick sigils in the air with his right hand. Some glyphs appeared on the smooth surface for a moment and blazed brightly. There, now we can... Maggle calmly reached out and grabbed a hold of the red jewel. Dun da da da! Sturgeon and friends obtained the frozen flame. Oh, we made it and managed to get out from where we came from without anything horrible happening to us. I breathed a sigh of relief and turned again to Maggle. He was staring silently at the jewel in his hand. You see my message? Yeah, I can see your message. I saw that you were watching Dave and Dev and talking to Spooky. Maggle, we did it! Let's get out of... Before I can finish, the frozen flame crumbled to dust. This flame was a fake. Lynx must be keeping the real one somewhere safe. What? Suddenly, a siren rang out. The room was flooded with light and the metal bar slammed down in front of the door. I turned with the gasp to see Kid frozen, an ornate crown in her hands, and a wide-eyed look of shock, awkward shock on her face. Dun da da da! Kid and friends obtained a golden crown too. You're kidding me, right? You had to go and you complete bonehead! I let rip the stream of choice insult. In my head, that is. Metallic parrots in the four corners of the room suddenly came to life, flapping their wings and screeching. Rack! Thieves! Thieves! We're in trouble. These things are going nowhere, said Maggle, inspecting the bars covering the door. Although I look at him, you wouldn't have thought there was anything wrong. Which way? Which way? The parrots! The parrots! To the vault! To the vault! We heard voices in the distance. The men and guards were coming. Kid dived behind a pile of gold coins. Find somewhere to hide! We are doing a visual novel. There is some choices that kind of affect the gameplay, but like it's mostly visual novel. There was a large chest sitting wide open next to a pillar. I rushed to empty it out and plunged headfirst in the closed lid. Captain! Captain! There's no sign of anyone in there. No sign! Strange. Peculiar. No one has ever escaped before. None has ever fled the mousetrap's clutches. None! I gently pushed up the lid of the chest and peeked through the gap. There were 5 goblins wearing suits of armor, unlocking the gate and about to make their way out inside. One of the goblins looked around the room, jerking his neck as he peered into the shadows. Captain! What if an actual mouse this time? Chief was grumbling about the mouse the other day, Captain. Chef was grumbling. A mouse! A rodent! A rat! Why would a teeny tiny thing like that really spring the trap? Replied a stocky, plump-looking goblin, who must have been the captain. He didn't seem convinced. That was when I heard a strange but oddly familiar sound in the corner of the room. Squeak! Squeak! It was coming from when Kid was hiding. Startled, the troop of goblins stopped and looked at each other. For a moment, none of them spoke. Eventually, the goblin captain rubbed his chin through his jowls and offered thoughts. Mouses! I'm sure Chef wasn't complaining about Chef was complaining about cats. Meow! Meow! That voice again. Again, silence. The goblins only looked at each other. Funny you should say that, Captain. The way I heard it, it wasn't mouses or cats. It was a hecarim. An awkward silence followed. In my mind's eye, I could see Kid racking her brains to work out what a hecarim. I smell a rat, by which I mean a thief. Following the captain's lead, the guards reached for their weapons, and then Ren hecarim. Listen, it really is a hecarim. By heck, that proves it. The goblins grinned and nodded to each other. Cheeky little devil, surprise me there. Let's get out of here, boys. What is this point? Holy fuck. The goblins filed out of the vault. I breathed a heavy sigh of relief. And then they came charging back in with a mighty roar. There's no such thing as hecarims. What? You sneaky little buggers, roared Kid, leaping out from behind a pile of gold coins. You're the one to talk, thief. Brandishing their weapons menacingly, the goblins moved slowly forward, forcing Kid into a corner. I quietly eased open the lid of the coffer and slipped out. Can't let you leave you anywhere, can I? I muttered to myself. I knew that Kid could handle herself, but I didn't fancy odds against a whole troop of heavy-armed goblins. For a moment, I wasn't sure what to do, but I made up my mind. I had to take the opportunity. Oh, nuts! What was I? Whoops, wrong one. What was I going to do? The guards would look even meaner than your average goblin. They clearly weren't taking any prisoners. I decided I was better off leaving Kid and Maggle to it while I snuck outside and keeping an eye on things safe from a distance. The goblins left the door wide open. Luckily for me, I tiptoed quietly, but just then, Oi, Surge! Gulp. Where do you think you're going, mate? You ain't running away to save your own sorry hide, are you? I trembled as I slowly looked behind me and saw all the goblins staring back at me with their beady little eyes. I suppose she never was the type to nobly sacrifice herself in order to let a friend escape to safety. Which meant it was time for me to face the music. I drew my knife from my belt and turned to face the goblins. Ah, humans are so stupid! The goblin captain chuckled and leaked his teeth. Yep, this one's got a difference, all right. Why else would he be so stupid to come after Lord Lynx's treasure? Ha! That's the first being called dumb. Ha! That's the first being called dumb by a bloody goblin. Trying to act tough while you're crying to your mom later on. Just by Kid's response, she wasn't feeling massively threatened. And you tell her it was Kid who kicked your teeth in. So you're Kid, ain't the sneaky little slippery little thief we've heard so much about. The goblin narrowed his eyes. Lord Lynx will be thanking me from now on. Until my retirement. From now until my retirement, and when I bring him your head on a silver platter. The goblin captain pulled his morning star from his waist and began to start swinging. You don't know who you're messing with. We ain't no ordinary goblin, sweetheart. We're Lord Lynx's elite guard. The goblins that gobbled the other goblins. That's right, the Gob Squad. Oh, quit shooting your mouth off and let me stick your boot in it. With that, Kid launched in a light and fast spinning kick. The boot connected the side of the goblin's head with a crack, sending the creature tumbling to the ground. Get a blast! The boy looks scrawny. Start with him! The goblin captain spun the heavy metal ball with his morning star in the air. Glorious glove strike! Aye, aye. The goblins charged across the room in response to that captain's command. Gob strike incoming! A goblin rushed towards me, swinging his weapon overhead. Parry the attack! I just managed to push my enemy's attack aside, then try to strike back with my knife. Only for the goblin to knock away my attack with a flick of his brawny arm, sending me crashing into the ground. Ah! This shock sent a flash of bright white light singing through my head. Kid lashed out with a lightning fast kick. There's more where that came from! Please have mercy! The shrieking goblin clacks to the floor, his eyes wide with fear. This isn't a game, Surge! Watch yourself, will ya? Another goblin flew down from under the head, bombs away. With a growl, it sends morning star swinging from above. Rolled away. No, it wasn't gonna make it. Shit. I tried to duck to avoid it. And now I was seeing stars. We're fucking stop. We're going to have... God. Between talking and, like, having to do this is going to be a pain in my ass. Hold on. We're going to try to save Kid next time. Radical Dreamers. My voice is giving out. I think I have to do this to get it to. Come on. New Kid at her self-handled army guns from above. Have to save Kid. Right, I had to save Kid to know I was going to bend in front of need. Even facing off against 5 goblins guards, I'll find a way to come out on top, I hoped. I drew the comic from my belt and left in the middle of the room. Hey, stop for brains! Over here! The goblins all turned to look at me at the same time. 10 beady, cruel little eyes all staring daggers into me. Fool! In a hurry to die, are we? I gulped and wondered if making a run for it might have been a better plan of action after all. Humans are so stupid. Okay, yeah. It doesn't change shit. It doesn't change shit. Goblin came on the side waist. Goblin ordinances. I'm just gonna save. Save again. I'm saving 5 seconds at a time. Okay, I dodged the attack. I swiftly dodged the attack and more side burst past my cheek. I don't know how, but I managed to escape unscathed. Lost my balance, though, and fell clumsily to the floor. Another of the garments hesitated for a moment, only to be run through by a spear of pure lightning conjured by Magdal. The goblin let a bird-curdling howl as electricity coursed through its body. It clutched awkwardly at his chest where it had been struck, its face contorted with agony and horror. Magdal's cape fluttered and his piercing eyes stared coldly at his victim. No one who defied me shall escape my wrath. Another goblin flew down from the head, bombs away, with a growl that sent more soft from my head. I rolled away. I rolled across the floor, dodging the attack. The more saw crashed into flagstones, seeing sparks flying. That was a close shave. I made good my escape by rolling further, clumsily putting some distance between myself and my attacker. Goblin strike incoming! I dodged the attack. Well, I tried to at least. The more saw slammed into my shoulder with a sickening impact. I writhed in agony at the same time, not trying to lose sight of where the next blow might be coming from. Yeah, that's the spirit, scrawn bag. I ain't done with you yet. Magic come in black wind which surged forth like the shearing tempest. How does a human know a spell like that? Who are you? The goblin was quickly silenced as the rushing winds tore through, and it collapsed to the floor with a final shriek. Maggle looked down at his victims, his expression unchanged. Another bomb growls in more some. How about counterattack? I'm better off attacking and trying for a clumsy dodge. I tackled the goblin head on and bounced helplessly off his enormous rock-like body, smashing headfirst into the floor. The shock of the impact jolted through my body. Magical from the black winds. Oh, hit whatever.
Number 9 large. Number 6 extra dip. Number 7 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
It's 7 gen again. I swiftly dodged the attack. The morning sun buzzed past my cheek. I don't know how, but I managed to escape unsaved. I lost my balance and fell to the floor. Black wind. Oh, God. Long live Lord Lynx! Glory to the Gobscog! With those final words, the goblin collapsed. And that was the last of them. We made it. Somehow. Ha! Piece of cake, said Kid, putting on a brave face as she wiped the sweat from her brow with her arm. And then she stopped and looked at me. Surge! What were you thinking, you great Drago? Getting the goblins to come after you like that. You really didn't have to, you know? Kid gazed softly at me, her blue eyes in the cold glow of the moon. She seemed to be trembling slightly. She looked at the ground, hiding her face. Thanks. I'll never forget what happened tonight. Even if we go our separate ways, even if we never meet again. Never. And then Maggle stepped in, save the chatter for later. We cannot waste any more time here. The frozen flame must be somewhere else in the manor. All right, mate. Thanks for stating the obvious. It's not my bloody fault that Lynx had to make things so bloody difficult for everyone. Kid spun her on a heel and made a sulky about face for the door. Suddenly, her attention returned to the pile of defeated goblins. This bunch of Drogas said that Lynx is elite guard, right? Bet they got some nice loot on them. With that, she started unceremoniously rummaging through the fallen captain's pockets. She was like a hyena sniffing for scraps. Hello, what's this? She found an odd metal plate. It resembled an open hand. It was covered in runes. Reckon this might own something. Okay, I get it all.
Because the mountains don't give back what they take. Oh no, there will be blood shed. It's the only thing I've ever known.
Reckon this might open some other magic door somewhere. But hi, Tichondria. Welcome to reading, because this is a VN. Plate vanished in the kid's pocket. There's nothing else worth taking unless you count pick and lint and a bit of string. She rose to her feet and looked around the room. You know, it's a real shame to leave the rest of this loot just sitting here unloved. Hey, suppose we can come back for whenever. Kid turned to face us and flashed a grin. All right, lads, get a move on. It ain't going to be dark forever. The hand-shaped plate is our only clue for now, muttered Maggle, seemingly to himself. And with that, we left the vault and searched for a real fuzz. Okay, I get what I need to do. I need to use that plate on the... Yeah, we're going to do that. We need to use that plate on the statue. Continue on. Keep following the corridor. Yeah, no, this is a complete, like... I mean, number one, I doubt they would ever use the fan translation because, like, there might be, like, different things that might happen. Usually when they translate it, they're going to have to... They do it themselves to make sure that things work right. Like, I think the only times in which I've seen fan translations really... Yeah, I get it. The bites a lot. Oh, God damn it. Wrong thing. Usually the only way you get, like, fan translations is, like, if fans get, like, tired. Hello, my other accountism. Going upward. What do you have here? Robo Dog Swat. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I don't think y'all listening to this, so. Hold on. Everything, I have to make sure everything's working right. Oh no, y'all are already listening to it. Fuck. I'm just an idiot. Got to mute Chrome. Works!
I come to make an announcement. Shadow the Hedgehog's a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking wife. That's right. He took his hedgehog fucking willy dick out and he pissed on my fucking wife.
Okay, it's just that. Oh, what the fuck? I forgot to disable autoplay. It. Lol. Well, I'm trying to use private windows when I do these links now. Oh, you two, you gotta be kidding me, shouted Clea at me. Are you telling me to swim through that bloody lake of piranhas? Yeah, you count me out, mate. How am I supposed to charm me victims when big chunks been out of me? I guess you had a point. Here's a better plan. Why don't we go back to Beardy and try sticking something down his gob? Sure enough, she pulled out a bun of odds and ends. Do I have to? I asked, knowing the answer, which probably is just as well since Kid only glared at me in response. My hand hovered for a moment before I finally reached for something. I chose the plate, the hand-shaped plate. I took the hand-shaped plate, metal plate I found. After taking a look at the runes, I was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate in the mouth of Truth's marble maw. As soon as I did, its eyes rolled upwards and the wall gave a light judder. A low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth. This indeed is the ultimate truth of the universe. Did I hear something? Yeah. I watched as the mouth of truth in confusion. His great marble tongue lolled out, almost like a snake. It coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deep inside. What the? What's going on? In a panic, I looked at Maggle for answers. It seems the infallible truth of the universe has left even the mouth of truth tongue-tied. Maggle answered in his usual deadpan manner. I think he might even have been trying to make a joke. Hang on, so the plate thingy revealed the truth of the universe? And you went and crammed it down Beardy's gullet? Do you realize how much we could have sold that for? Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. Then the drains on the side of the room suddenly opened wide. The red water formed eddies as it sank away. Helpless, the piranodons were washed away with the current. Soon only trickles of water were left, slowly dripping away. Well, that's a stroke of luck, ain't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishes tonight, grinned Kid, looking at the empty pool. Across the drained room, making for the exit on the other side, and pressed on. Autoplay bit is turned out funnier than expected. Anyways, the original videos from China and telling people to quarantine. Go figure. Gotta send the little robot dog to tell people that. Oh, we already halfway? So I guess we are gonna get this done in like 3 hours. Hold on, I forgot to move my desktop back. Oh. We went through the atrium and continued down the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork in the road. The corridor stretched off to the left and right. I guess we'll go right. Suddenly, Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's there. Oh god, it's a fucking... Something's there. I quickly looked around to see what it was. There was nothing behind us or in front of us. Where could it be? And just then, as I was trying to figure out, the walls began to move. No. A rectangular section opened up and swung around, revealing two enormous goblins clinging to the back. It was like something from one of those stories about assassins sneaking around old castles. You goblins! Screamed Kid. They would definitely look like goblins to me, maybe a touch on the larger side. There were 4 in total, 2 in front of us and 2 had appeared behind us, cutting off our path of escape. Maggle rushed towards the 2 behind us. Meanwhile, the Kid left the 2 in front, holding a knife in both hands. I drew my knife and rushed to Kid's side. Crash! The spike ball of the goblin's Morningstar smashed to the ground, crushing the stone flooring. Kid nimbly leapt into the air, evading the attack and landed on the goblin's exposed head. What? And plunging her knife into his left eye. Then she flipped backwards and stood ready for the next attack. That was Kid's style. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The next goblins charged in, swinging its morning sword towards me. I jumped back. I jumped back in my distance. For a moment, I thought about copying this kid's trick, but I didn't have the confidence to pull it off. I was better off keeping an eye on my enemy and doing things my own way, though I did wish I could fight like her. The goblin pulled the iron ball out of the floor and came with me, swinging it overhead. Threw my knife, the opportunity to dodge the attack, and kick in the face, the opportunity to pull my... Threw my knife at the goblin's face. There was a squelch as it sank into the creature's right eye. Took the opportunity to slip by, grabbing its mace as I passed by it. It turned, and I heaved the heavy weapon right at its face. There was a horrible crunch as another squelch and the mace shattered the goblin's skull, burying it deeper within. I looked away as the creature collapsed on the floor. I realized then that everything was quiet and the fighting had ended. That must have been the last goblin. I was starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to have to be more careful from now on. This was going to end badly. Not bad, sir. It's not bad at all. Didn't know you had it in you. There was a mischievous glint in the kid's eyes as rewarded me with a few rare words of praise. I need some healing. We went down the stairs. Slowly, we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the shadows as we went. At the bottom, we found ourselves in another intersection. We dimmed the narrowed passages branching left and right. We'll try right again. Followed the corridor for a while before coming across a small door. Get away from that! Something smells good, whispered Kid, sniffing the air. Let's go in. Blimey, this is a small kitchen! Must be for the service, commented Maggle. I scanned our surroundings. A basin for washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made ready for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. It looks like any other commoner's kitchen. A kid walked over to a large pot filled with food and peered inside. Looks like tomorrow's lunch. Want to have some, Serge? Sure. I timidly peered into the pot. It looks like stew, but it didn't smell bad. Almost inviting. I scooped some up later and put it to my mouth. Gulp. It was delicious. Delicious. This stuff is delicious. You should grab a bowl, Kid. I urged between bites. Kid was looking at me, staring at me intently, in fact, like she was searching for something. Well, you ain't going green or nothing. Guess it. Why? She licked her lips with anticipation and swiped my spoon right out of my hand. Fancy a taste, Mag? No. Kid grabbed a bowl from nearby and began spooning out some more. I did the same. We ate our fill. The stew was still warm. It felt as though the magic of fresh home cooking was easing my room somewhat. Oh, cool. My room somewhat. Suddenly, a little voice rang out. You there, young man with the braid! Kid froze. Oi, who you calling a bloke? Kid barked angrily in the direction the voice was coming from. A mouse was looking at us with the eyes like saucers from the inside of a mousetrap hanging on the wall in the corner of the room. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a young lady, I see. The mouse bowed his head in his apology. Please, kind young lady, would you hear me out? The mouse put his paws together and started pleading at the kid. I left the nest to find food for my mother, but you can see I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I'll surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. Eaten by goblins? Wait, that's stew! Putting two together, Kid ran for the sink. I beg of you, please free me from this trap. My mother is sick, and she'll be terribly worried about what has become of me. The mouse was clearly begging for his life, but there was also an odd glint in his eyes. Meanwhile, Kid was at the sink. I'm never going to get the taste out of my mouth. I'll be buggered if I'm having it hanging around here any longer. Kid had returned from the sink, only to stamp off towards the door. She was looking all very green around the gills. Kindly, young lady, I don't suppose you could free me first. You got yourself into this mess. You can sort yourself out. Kid was all but spat the ground and she left the room. The mouse's eyes welled up as it looked at me. Young man, please, you're my only hope. God, fine. Unable to bear it staring at me any longer with those pleading eyes, I lifted down the cage and opened the door. The mouse bounded happily from inside. The mouse gave a wicked chuckle. You poor naive fool! Suddenly his body began to balloon to massive in size. Oi, Serge, what are you doing in... Kid stopped in horror the moment she opened the door. Look at me, a griffin! The enormous creature stared balefully down at us. Idiot humans! My mother is not sick, but yours will be when she sees what I've done to you. Get going, Serge. You're a bloody liability, you are. Oof. Okay, maybe I made a mistake, but she didn't have to rub it in like that. The griffin gave an almighty cry and leapt right at us. Its razor-sharp talons sliced through the air and rained dark. I ducked to jump the attack. Cough off guard, I tried my best to dodge the attack, but the blow never came as the griffin suddenly lost his balance and came crashing to the ground. Oh, bother! I'm too hungry to even fight properly. What on earth? I breathed a sigh of relief, running down, running my hand down my chest. All right, little mouse, now it's time for a real show to begin. Kid walked up to the griffin, cracking her knuckles. Ugh. Please, kind young lady, this is all misunderstanding, a terrible misunderstanding. Panicking, the creature leapt to his feet. You can't kill me. I have useful information. If you let me go, I promise to tell you everything I know. Everything. Yeah, how much a promise from the likes of you is worth? Kid took another step towards the griffin, not skipping a beat. Rack, please! Kid kept on coming. The griffin kept on shrinking away. Enough! Kid Magical called the kid to stop. Let's hear it. Oh, thank you, kind sir. The griffin was beside itself with relief. Spoil my fun, why don't you? Kid grumbled, pouting as he turned away. Nuclear vinegar. Listen, oh merciful savior. Right thrice, left twice, right thrice. Should you find yourself trapped in one of Lynx's swirling snares, remember my words. So, right 3, left 2, right 2. With that, the griffin returned to his mouse-like form and disappeared in a small hole in the wall. Trapped in Lynx's snares. Ha! If his oven was thick enough to turn into one of his traps. Let's get out of here. We're wasting enough time already. Kid turned on a heel and made for the door. We left the kitchen. Yeah. Leaving the room, we turned back to the corridor. We followed Rob before we come to an intersection. Left this staircase, but then we can continue going up. Have a good night, Avalon. We've pressed on. Continuing down the corridor into a large door covered in scratches and other odd marks. Above the door was a wooden plate, or the legend guard room in elaborate calligraphy. Well, guards are one thing we definitely don't need right now. Come on, let's get one done. With Kid around, who knows what kind of mess we're going to get into. Maybe, but with Serge around, who knows what kind of traps we'll walk into. What a trusting relationship we enjoyed. Then let us turn back now. We made our way back through the corridor. Left the room and took left down the corridor. We followed a while before I was coming in section. Staircase going up. So I guess we got to go up. Kid lead, we climbed the stairs, top floor, long straight corridor. We continue on. Reach the fork in the path. Left will take back to the atrium. So we should keep going straight. We continue down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Hello, Botto. Oh, it's time to Okay. Botto. Where's the band? That's the band. There we go. Botto destroyed. We continue down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Bloody marvelous! Another bloody door with a bloody magic barrier on it. Wonder what's inside. My sixth sense tell me ain't treasure. Kid whispered back to us as he examined the door. I suspect this is the Manor's dungeon, replied Maggle, and his eyes closed in concentration. I can hear the sounds of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side. But there's nothing we could do, and thus a little concern to us now. Let us turn back. With no way of getting through the door, we retrace our steps down the corridor. Where could we go then? Let me turn back around. So this is the only door. Okay. Yeah, it's just gonna say the same thing. Yeah, I guess we're gonna try the mirror. Towards the atrium. Towards the atrium comes into the view. We'll go here. Right back in the atrium and exit the Lynx and Riddle's room. Escape ominously from Costa Castle space. We can onward. Fork in the path. Right, what's up with that thing? Hunting on the other side. So you say. We continued along the path. I don't want to go into Riddell's room. Whoops, I didn't want... I meant to continue. Fuck. Tidy room, knickknacks. Still the same thing. The leaf comes through. Yeah, pass. Right, we'll go deliver links. Yep. I kind of now have, at least there's like things in which we can sit back and be like, yeah, let's turn back. Same things every time. So this is why I've been hiding Lynx, yelled Kid as he barged into the room. What? Is Lynx here? I followed after her, panicking. I looked to see around, but no one but us. Where is he? Kid was just standing there, clearly not in danger at all. It was a joke, idiot. Idiot. All the strength drained from my body. Thought I was serious, did ya? Chuckled Kid and tried not to laugh too hard. Ah, I bet you wish you were living the easy life rather than try pacing around after me. Hey, your face. I ignored her and walked over to the mirror draped with a red silk cloth. But I really trying to make you hate all. I ignored her and walked over to the mirror draped with a red. Hi there. Sorry about all the noise. The statue of Vivian is a minute giggle back at me. That's quite all right, Serge. What is your desire? Came her husky alto. Nothing much. I just thought I'd check up on you since I was here. You must not say such things. Your friends will become envious, she giggled mischievously. You what? Kid said with voice completely flat. And why would I be envious? Please, there's no need to get upset. I have a gift for you. Oh, yeah? Yes. One might call it that. You see, I thought you might be interested to see what it's like inside the mirror. Wait, you're invited us to the realm of mirrors? Kid's interest was certainly piqued. It won't take up much of your time, Kid. Come on, Kid. Step inside. The surface of the mirror rippled like water. Kid reached out a hand towards the glass and hesitated. She deliberated for a moment before finally pulling back. You go first, Serves. You are her favorite. Are you sure? Kid nodded, and filled with excitement, I pressed my hands to the mirror. The surface was like cool water at my fingertips. No, Serge, you mustn't! Suddenly, cracks formed in the glass. I gasped. What's happening? The statue in the mirror was weeping. I wish you were so trusting. You forgot that I serve Lynx. What? I blurted out. I meant to trap you and your friends. The cracks in the mirror grew bigger, splitting off in more and more smaller cracks. And that's not all. I foresaw you coming long ago. I warned Lynx of it. But why? You were imprisoned here by Lynx, weren't you? Sighed Maggle. The statue of Venus nodded mournfully. He sealed the path to the mirrors beyond, preventing me from leaving the manor. Were someone to shatter all the mirrors within the manor's walls, I would be doomed. I would vanish, separated from my siblings forever. Eventually, the statue raised its head. But I cannot stand to be at his mercy anymore. The cracks deepened further, and shards of glass began to fall to the floor. Stop! I can't let you do this, I yelled, grabbing the mirror frame with both hands. This is what I want. Lynx will not suffer me to live after betraying him, said the mirror image in the mirror, looking at me. But why are you not trying to help us? Will that be your final question, Serge? Something in the voice felt a trace of a smile. Very well, the truth is But just then, the mirror finally began to split from top to bottom. The image's lips moved gently, but no words came. I tried to scream, but I could do little more than whimper. I took a shard of glass from the floor and gripped it tightly in my hand. Serge? Behind me, Kid was softly calling my name. I gave a slight nod and slowly turned around. Let's go. Left the room and I looked back one more time. My eyes coming to rest in the remains of the mirror. I never able to hear her voice again. I turned around and left the room. She just said that as long as mirrors exist within this manor, she cannot escape. The corridor stretched out beyond the door. So we're just going to go to Riddell's room? Because, fuck it. I'm getting confused, but I don't want to catch up. Yeah, oh, we're trying to, we've broken into Lynx's manor. We're trying to find the frozen flame. And so we're playing basically a visual novel puzzle type game. The knickknacks here started saying occupied no stranger to luxury. I felt awful lonely, half a letter. Must need fresh air. Even someone been here a moment ago. Okay, I guess not. I guess we'll go to the atrium. I'm gonna save again. Hold on. You know what? Let's go to the sword room again. Dead end with a large door. Oh yeah, we haven't been back to the main hall in a while. Let's go inside. Just in case. Peek inside. Looks like the coast is clear. We're stepped inside the main hall. The candle provided. And still the same. I was busy staring at a painting depicting an intimidating old man when his eyes suddenly widened and he stuck out his tongue at me. No, I was just seeing things again. It looks like the way because of flickering light. I mean, can totally happen, right? Place giving me creeps and a lot of ugly mugs. Okay. Never mind. No, I don't think so. There is a clock tower. And I think I'm going to go back to the clock tower. Clock. I want to open the door. In we go. It wasn't locked, but it slowly swung open. Yeah, I guess he is kind of Vlad the Impaler a bit. There's no sunlight. Hello? Any old ladies in here? No? No kindly dear old dears no more than letting on, lurking in the shadows? Come out, wherever you are. Oi, lady, show yourself! The silence spoke volumes. This is a waste of time, pronounced Maggle flatly, turning on his heel. We left the old storage room. We did get a crown. Wait, actually, turn back. I want to go back to that. I want to try going back to that torture. We continue on. I just want to make sure. Doing that torture stuff is your thing. Okay, no. Yeah, I guess we need to go back to the atrium. Continue on. Go downstairs. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's the only thing I have yet to do. Atrium on the left. Left. No, wait, it is the Bloody Marvelous, not Blood. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, it's back down and then the left. So I guess we go straight. We went down the stairs. Crept down the stairs. And then we could took the left path. But we went and played at the board guard room. To that door upstairs? No, okay, Chris present our door. Let's sound like anyone's in there. Okay. Yeah, we just had to go find that door first before we were able to do this one. The door seemed completely silent from the outside, but when we thought it would be empty, there was a lone goblin. It was sitting in a chair with a book in his head. A light steam drifted in from the teacup and table in front of it, and with it, a delicate aroma. The goblin peered at us curiously over his spectacles. There was something different about this one. I could tell as much at a glance. Heavens, how rare is it to have guests? Heavens, how well spoken for a goblin. I can only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him nonetheless. Sorry, mate, but we're not your guests. Got cough up a key to the dungeon if you want to live. Kid slammed her knife in the table to illustrate her point. But the goblin didn't say so much as flinch. Ah, you must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. I've always wanted to meet you. Why, you're even more ravishing than the rumors would... Before the goblin could finish, Kid's knife flew through the air. With a quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, merely an inch from his face. I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest, the goblin said, pulling the knife free and handing it back to Kid. She took it without word. Her gaze had changed. She was like a cat, cautiously studying its prey. And I was just getting to the good part too. Ah, well, I suppose I have to give up on ever finishing it now. The goblin casually flung the book over his shoulders into a nearby bin. Allow me to introduce myself, if I may. I'm Grimsmeld, and I'm a guard on watch. No need to stand, please. Do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. Goblin beckoned us to sit down. Did he mean to poison us? It's a goblin, not a lizard. If I may, Maggle calmly took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I sat next to him. I decided to trust Maggle's instinct and took a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I'm sure of it. Kid didn't look like she'd be pulling up a tear anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are. Without hesitation, Maggle took his teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped and placed the cup back on his saucer. Himalayan tea. Not a blend I expected to find here. What a pleasant it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it's a rare blend and one mainly enjoyed by the noble classes. I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help but wondering what rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. I couldn't shake the fear that it might be poison. I also knew I couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled. Before I knew it, the cup was in my hand. This is great, I blurted out. I'd never had such a delicious brew in my life. My aches and pains faded away. Another heal. I glanced over the Kid, who was blowing maniacally at the liquid in her cup. I'd forgotten she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Now then, now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do have the key to the dungeon, as you surmise, but you will also be aware that I simply cannot give it away. I glanced over the Kid again. Typical, she wasn't listening to a word Grimsmeld was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seems it would be up to me. They don't have scales. It seems as it would be up to me to respond. I suppose that means you want something in return. You like to know what I want? I want your heads. Grimsmeld's eyes glistened behind his spectacles. I pull on. Or rather, I'm sure that's what my employer would have me say. But no, I have no such barbarous aspirations. Furthermore, I doubt I'll be a match for you. Grimsmeld chuckled as he said this. What I live for is the joy of conversation, for which I fear my compatriots are a little cribbed to supply. Perhaps you maybe have 1 or 2 ripping yarns to share? Grinning, he added, I'm sure the notorious thieves such as yourselves may have more than a few thrilling tales up your sleeves. So you wanted to hear a story. That seemed more than a fair price to pay for the key. I closed my eyes and thought, aha, I just know the story. How did it begin? One night a young girl was walking alone in the forest, and then she was searching for golden sunflower. She was out hunting. What was the next again? She would caught a beetle and painted it gold. The fact as I remember seemed right. I had a rough handle on how the ending would go. I took a breath and began my tale. We won't say. One night, the young girl was walking alone in the forest. She was out hunting for bugs. She caught a beetle and painted it gold. The next morning, she set off from town to sail a catch. On her way there, she met some travelers and convinced them that the creature she was carrying was a fabled beetle of fortune. She sold it to them for an eye-watering price. Rich at last, the girl and her mother lived happily ever after. Hey, sirs, that girl's name wouldn't happen to be Kid, would it? My blood froze at the quiet threat in the voice behind me. What? I'm making this up as I go along. Don't tell me you actually did all that stuff. The moment I turned around, I found my neck caught in Kid's hands. How did you find out? How? I couldn't answer her. I couldn't even breathe. I braved myself for a slap across the cheek. Before it came, Grismeld called out to stop her. He whispered a few words in her ears and then handed her a small bag. Her eyes glint like stars, and she looked very pleased with herself indeed. Kid turned to me and Maggle. Right, let's hurry up and kill Link so we can have some of this here tea. So Grismeld had run her around with her special Berlin. She must have really liked the stuff. Then again, it was just like her to hand her head turned by next to nothing. Oh, and don't forget this, said Grismeld before she ran off without getting what we came for. The key, as promised. It took it from Grismeld's hands. And with that, we left the room, or should say, we were dragged out by a very excited Kid. It's time for another save because we made progress. We left the room and took a left down the corridor. We followed a while before coming to an intersection. We need to go up. One of these in Gabi. We climbed a narrow staircase. Corridor, we continue on. We follow the corridor, reaching a path. Need to go right towards the cell. Reaching all sturdy looking door. So right. The key we got from the creepy old goblin should do the trick. He clips the key into the lock, with the heavy door groaned slightly as they swung open. Clammy air rose around their fleet as if crawling blindly through the darkness. This didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in their right mind would visit voluntarily. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open, stepped inside the darkness. There was rows of cells, all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2. Oh, Gulliver, Melgid, Zoronda, forgive me, please. Please, forgive me. We heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly, in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So this was the source of the voice. Oi! You alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure. Forgive me. It's my fault. My fault. The Dragoons never deserved this. General, Lady Riddell. Oh, forgive me, I beg you. The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He suddenly sat facing the wall, begging forgiveness for who they knew what. Hello? Can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. There will be no getting through to him. His real self would have long since retreated inside the shell he has created, said Maggle, cutting her off. Shell? What do you mean? I asked. He has built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He is running from something terrible. He has seen something, or been through something, or has done something. And so he has created his own world inside it as a final refuge, the outside world lost to him forever. I look at Maggle in surprise. I had detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words, and for some reason, he was looking at Kid. Watching over her as she stared at the man in the cell. Seemingly to notice my gaze, Maggle turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotionless expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some of us will try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eyes retain a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. You understand? I think so. I gave a slightly evasive answer. He seemed confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. Maggle looked at me and Kid. What was that all about, I wonder? We're not going to get much out of him. He's miles away. Let us leave him be and try to someplace else. Kid made for the door of the dungeon. Wait! I called Maggle. We must find some way to get this old man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already. Just none of it makes sense. What are you after? Some things he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the Dragoons, and Riddell too. So, you said the Dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? He's clearly gone off his rocker. He had a point. The old man has long since cut ties to the real world. What did Maggle expect him to say? The good boy thought it was a dog person. No, it's an old man. Probably. About missing being Maggle's son, we simply have to bring him back to reality. And how are we going to do that? You want me to do a little dance for him or something? If that gets his motor going? Please don't. No. Please don't do that. The words were out of my mouth before I could stop them. What do you say? Her eyes narrowed threateningly. You don't think anyone want to see me dance? Is that it? What? No, completely the opposite. Actually, ignore me. Nah, this should be good. Enlighten me. Why don't you? He's right. It won't work. And just like that, Kid's fists were flying towards Maggle's face instead of mine. He dodged the blow with ease, carried on as if nothing had happened. We must break through the shell he has created and drag him back to the real world. In order to do that, we need to find some kind of key. Something that will reach him, even though the barrier he has erected. Yeah, what are we going to find this key? Asked Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came Maggle's simple reply. There's someone in this manor who can tell us. You don't mean... You're not talking about Riddell, are you? I am, Maggle's replied with a nod. Alright, fine. Don't know what the heck you expect her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We left the gibbering old man in the dungeon, alone with his sorrow. We don't get those. I followed Kid and Maggle back into the corridor. Okay, I'm going to take a small break to pee and get me some more to drink, because holy shit, doing a visual... Oh. Show up right away. We'll see, but we'll do a thing. I'm going to BRB. I need to pee and get something to drink.
This is so even the longest VN from the 90s.
Get the drinks. Get the drinks. Also, like, yeah, I know there's multiple visual novels that are way longer than this shit. I don't know anything about outside of the 90s. But I know, like, stuff like Higurashi and Umineko, which I guess are, like, early 2000s, are, like, massive. Like, I would never... Like, if I was to do, let's say, a fucking Umineko, I would legitimately have to basically make it a big collab and make certain people like voice characters, because holy fucking shit with like Umineko itself. And 999, you can't even have big breasts in Nami Nami. Oh. But no, I don't think there's any big breasts and Dami Mommies in this game. Like, that's not even any klutzy, so... Okay, so I guess we need to go towards the atrium and then go to Riddell's room. Ah! Look, just because I mention it, I mean, you have to... Yeah. Kid stopped in her tracks, signaling us with a hand behind her back. She drew a knife and stared into the darkness. We heard a clinking of metal just ahead. Goblin guards. It wasn't likely there's anyone else going for a nighttime stroll around the manor wearing armor. I drew my knife and readied myself. I picked up the situation pretty quickly. I drew my knife, prepared for a fight. Kid gave me a sideways glance. You know something? You're starting to look like a real thief. Now that we need to walk, now you just need to walk the walk. She grinned. All right, Serge, Maggle, let's get them. Kid leapt forward, confident as ever. It was like she thought nothing could go wrong. There were 5 of them in total. They weren't any ordinary goblins, though. They've been well looked after in the Palatial Manor. They've grown to be even bigger than Maggle. Each of them was carrying a Manor Goblin's trademark, a Morningstar consisting of a rod and heavy spiked iron ball on a chain. Wait, or is it a flail?
Number 9 large. A number 6 extra dip. A number 7. 2 number 45s. 1 with cheese. And a large salt.
I never could remember, and I didn't have time to think much about it. A goblin came rushing at me. I jumped back and evaded the attack. The eyeball crashed the stone tile I was standing on moments before I crushing it. Had I tried to stop it with my knife, it would have been lucky. Back of its, the opportunity to try to thrust my knife into the goblin's chest. Only it stabbed squarely in the gut. I rushed to pull it out before I could. The creature had grabbed my arm in his meaty fist. I looked up to see it glaring at me with a mad grin on his face. Its fangs stripped. I decided to fight dirty. The goblin may be a monster, but I guess it was still a man in a sense. I swung my foot up hard. A brutal kick right in family jewels, but had no effect. The creature's grip didn't weaken, and he grinned didn't waver. Actually, I think I hurt my foot more than anything else. Suddenly, I was flung to the side. My back crashed into the wall, the impact knocking the wind out of me. And then before I could retract, a heavy kick smashed into my side. I was sent flying into the ground, rolling from the impact. I coughed, leaving a splatter of blood on the floor. Without reward, the goblin started running for me. I stood up trying to ignore the ring in my head. The goblin was unarmed, and I was going to strike first. I readied myself. Shush! It swung with me left foot, right in my face. I timed my dodge carefully, ducking in the last second. The fist sailed through empty air. I slipped past, circling around the goblin's back, and freed the mace from its belt. I lifted the weighty weapon in the air at the creature's turns, and brought it down its head with all the strength I could muster. There was a sickening crunch, followed by a squelch as the mace came free. The goblin collapsed. I threw the mace to the ground and dropped to my knees. Exhausted, I panted for my breath. Finally got a notch in your belt, eh? Taunted Kid coming from my side. I wanted to say something, but I was too exhausted. I've taken a few knocks, but I was alright. A scrape or two wouldn't stop me. Not bad, Serge. Not bad at all. Didn't know you had it in you. There was a mischievous glint in Kid's eyes as he rewarded me with a few rare words of praise. Yeah, I still got it. Okay. we did another victory. Leaving the atrium behind us, we immediately found ourselves in forking path. Right was a passage. We continue. Eventually come to the right door on the right hand side. This is Riddell's room. Let's just go inside. See if she's here. Found myself in a tiny welcome room. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. The room is fully furnished. I'm feeling awfully alone. Is someone there? Came the voice of a young woman. We shake. Kappa. Is someone there? Came the voice of a young woman. We shrank in the shadows. The woman appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up, had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Lynx's daughter. Strange. I am sure I heard someone. I was at a loss to what to do for a moment. But before I had time to do much more than hold my breath, Kid had already darted over and thrust her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth away from the woman's neck. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me! Her voice came out in a harsh growl. I rushed in to hold Kid back before she can hurt the poor woman. Kid, do you really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, Serge! Riddell can't help but giggle as she watched us bickering. Why are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? Kid shot Riddell a harsh look. It's just, you don't seem like thieves at all. You want me to cut you, girl? I'd surprised if the knife could cut anything. For a moment I felt faint, imagining Riddell on the floor, covered in blood. But then, clang! Kid had thrown her knife to the floor. I only saw there was just a letter opener. Didn't think you noticed. Whatever, I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. I have no desire for bloodshed either, Riddell, in a voice that was almost a whisper. I'm not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There wasn't a hint of hesitation or deception in her voice. Let me guess, you're trapped in a manner too. Riddell lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. The frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. Riddell spoke quietly, but her emotion clearly underpinned her words. The flame was once the property of the ancient kingdom to the north, who kept it for generations. It said to have an uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell to the flame, changed hands countless times until eventually it came to my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value and approached my father under false pretenses of friendship. Not a soul suspected his true natures were. And then, on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Riddell shook her head, then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about that stupid accursed stone. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. And the only way we can make that happen, Riddell looked up with a surprise as Maggle spoke. No one else in the world can seize that jewel from Lynx. Riddell stared speechlessly, and in a low voice she whispered, "What can I do to help you?" There's a survivor of the Arcia Dragoons in the dungeons who we want to help. And if we were to help him, we need your help, said Maggle, taking a step forward. What? That man is a traitor! It's because of him that father, that Zorda! Please, it's the only way. Riddell turned her back to us and hung her head low. Oh god, that's Riddell in this game? The Chamber of Death. There might be something to bring him back in his senses in there. After all, it was there he chose to abandon his pride, his life. I assume the Chamber of Death must be the cell with the trapped ceiling? Riddell nodded. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That thing damn near killed us last time. You will need to take the Inlanzer with you. The sacred sword said to be forged by the ancient sage, a sister blade to its the crimson and cursed Masamune. The timeless blessings of the Inlanzer will certainly keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be such a sight to see it in the hands of Zornda. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost in the memories of fonder times, Riddell once bowed her head. Forgive me, I have little more to tell you. You told us more than enough. We'll take our leave now, said Maggle, turning to make for the door. I wish I had the strength to change things like you do, Riddell, whispered Riddell, biting her lip. Kid hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength. It's about having a purpose, something to fight for. I'll be praying for you. Kid shot Verdella a look over his shoulder. Great, maybe you can cross your fingers too. We left the room. Oof. Suddenly, Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's there! I quickly turned around to see what it was. There's nothing behind us, in front of us. We can only be... Oh. The walls! We're time to do this again. Goblins. Yeah. 4 in total, 2 behind. Magus takes a 2. You go with Kid. I'm just gonna... I just know I jump back. Keep it eye. Borrow the knife, and then everything should be fine. Okay. It was going well until it wasn't. The goblin caught the mason before he struck. Oh no! Something grabbed me, slammed me into the wall. The wind just knocked down me and fell to the ground. And then I was holding on to my chest, grasping breath. Then saw the goblin illuminate me. It burst into flames. A fireball. I looked to the side and saw Maggle joining me in the smoke. I thank Maggle for his timely intervention. Struth! You gutless wonders, Surge, grumbled Kid. Business as usual had resumed, it seemed. Sometimes I really did despair. Would have heard her to say, "You hurt, mate," once in a while, if only to mix things up a bit. I'm a grown man, you know. I have feelings. But as ever, I said it only to myself, trying to tell her that for real would have been to swift her out to an early grave, and nothing else. So I let the words wash over me and did my best to stay strong. Oh, I take a few knocks, scrape on top of me. Grievous glint. Okay, we are going to save again because that was a battle. We go left to the atrium, we climb up the stairs, we go over there. Because I thought the same go. It is, I mean, there are like similar. They just reuse the same artwork, but like, I mean, that's how a lot of games do it. They're not gonna make 15 different ones, but there seems to be like 2 or 3 like of the exact same type of stuff. It's towards the Terrence. Follow the corridor. We go into the clock tower. We grab the sword. We go up to the thing. We still need to figure out how to. There's still like one more room that like we still haven't dealt with. The room is completely silent. There was no sign of life. There it is. Our ticket not getting turned into mincemeat. The ancient sword was right there where Kid had left it, pulling it from the pile of junk. She ran over to where it lay. Looking down the sword, Maggle muttered, 2 ancient blades, the sacred Inlancer and the cursed Masamune. What are you on about, Mag? You know something about this Master Mune? Maggle said nothing. Well, it seems to mean something to you. It does. Uh-huh. Something to do with old friends I don't know about? Not exactly. An enemy then? Not exactly. You're being weird, Mag. Well, whatever. Oi, numbnuts, grab this thing for me, will ya? I was standing by the doorway when Kid called over the organ, as in like the pipe organ thing. Yeah. Who, me? Yeah, you. Were you going to make you lug this huge bloody thing? I'm just a scrawny little girl. I call myself a gentleman. Scrawny little. In those dark dreams where Kid was just only a scrawny little girl, I wondered. Suddenly, my thoughts were interrupted by a spinning Kid to the chops. Yeah! My body flipped over in the air as sparks flew behind my eyes. What the hell was that for? Kid only humphed and looked away. Maggle also turned away. I thought it was left out in the cold. Pick up the damn sword, Surge. We ain't got all night. Ye gods, she was a nightmare. Sometimes I wonder why you even bother coming along on these little jaunts. Dazed, I stumbled to my feet, sheepishly picked up the sword. But what were we even supposed to do with this tarnished old relic? Whoa! I nearly fell over. That thing was heavy. Good boy. Right. Off to the Chamber of Death. Eyes on the prize, lads. Dragging the sword behind me with one hand and clutching my throbbing head with the other, I followed Kid out in the room toward the place which sounded like certain doom awaited. Another save! Right. Ignore this door and go to the stairway. Clank, 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 clank. Okay, inside. Well, this place is just as creepy as I remember it. Lovely, grumbled Kid. She was looking at the stains on the wall. The ceiling had been pulled back, but there's no reason to believe they might not come to a grinding again at any moment. Bearing in mind what Riddell had told us the room was called, it definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. Quickly, hissed Maggle before crouching down and examining the ground for clues. Kid and I crouched down too. What were we even looking for? What could the old man have left in the room that would help us bring us back to reality? Black stones on the floor were smeared with black gooey substance, which gave off an odd, rotten aroma. I shook my head, trying to drive an uncomfortable thought from my mind. Kid saw me and clearly wasn't doing much better herself. She slowly turned, positioning herself so she was facing away from the stains on the wall. There was no point in thinking like that. I just had to try. But then... the door slammed shut. The gears ground into life. Here we bloody go again! We have to stop it. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find what we're looking for. Bum, 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 bum. The ceiling sank lower and lower. We ducked our heads, desperately trying to avoid the blaze that jutted from the bottom. Kid looked at me and screamed, "The sword! Use the inlancer!" What? How do you use the sword? I plunged the sword into the Kid. I plunged the sword into the ground. There! I drove the sword into the floor with all my might. A shock rang through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blade, covering the floor and walls and then racing upward. The ceiling gave an almighty judder and then stopped. We made it! I sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. Hey, what's that? It was pointing out a part of the wall. And that's where I was seeing the message written in blood. Guess we found out what we were looking for. Part of the wall had collapsed, revealing a cavity behind which had looked like a piece of solid stone. Inside, I could see something glinting faintly in the darkness. It reached in with her fingertips, carefully extracting whatever was within. It was a slender ring with delicately engraved design that looked like overlapping ferns. The ring was adorned with several small rubies in a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. The crest of Oxian? This must be an Oxian signet. Kid put the ring on the middle finger where it sat uneasily. It didn't seem to be her size. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Right, let's not spend any more time in here than we have to. We managed to foil the trap and retrieve the Oxian signet. I left the inlancer where it stood. We exited the room. Saving. Acacian. Okay. I don't know how it's actually pronounced. Sturdy little door. Nope. Continue on. Continue on. I guess this is kind of the worst part because, shit. Kid Summon track, something was wrong. We heard a faint whisper as the spell was being cast. A faint light was emanating from a monster sitting crouched on the flagstones ahead. Oh god! A long bony finger traced strange shapes onto the tiles. A demon! I pulled out my knife and ready to confront it. I went out from the... I watched the demon carefully, keeping a tight grip on my knife. Maggle didn't race a moment and let rip a spell. The wall of flame slammed into the creature. I could smell the stench of burnt flesh. The demon's eyes reddened and bared its fangs. Cursed whispers filled the air. It was casting a spell! Leave this to me, I yelled, exactly at the same time as Kid. I slipped around the left side of the demon as it swung his scythe down. Whoosh! The blade sliced the air as hair's breadth from my nose. A single moment later, and I'd been no nose left to speak of. It took advantage while the demons were focused on me and stabbed it full in the back. The creature let out a grotesque howl and collapsed to the floor. Ha! Did you plan to be the decoy so I could finish it off, or was that a coincidence? Either way, it did the trick. Kid beamed with pride. The demon's blue blood pooled on the floor as it lay there, writhing in pain. His face contorted with agony, glared at us, and began tracing strange shapes on the ground with his last as strength. Kid sensed that something wicked was afoot. Just die already, would you? But the demon carried on writing, strange shapes forming from his blood. An eerie light illuminated the hastily scrawled curse, and then there was a flash. Lightning bolts of energy danced around my feet. Kid, who was standing right next to the demon, jumped back with a start, and then it started drawing even more strange symbols. She took advantage of while the creature was still concentrating. She twisted her body, stretched out a leg, and swung at it in a graceful arc right into the demon's belly. I mean, like, this game is a game from the Satellivision, which was a SNES that had, like, I think it was either cable connections or internet connection back in the 90s, only available in Japan, so it kind of is going to have that kind of feel to it. Like, it wasn't made for the PlayStation, it was made satellite internet. Okay. It was one of the kind of couple. My final grasp the class on this unfinished hex, and at last it lay still. Wait a second, what's that? There was a leather bag on the ground, containing some recently cooked meat. Lucky me, I bit into the meat without a moment's hesitation. After devouring the unexpected windfall, I felt a little better. Oi, where's my share? Busted, I pretended not to hear. I was doing great, I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe ain't such a Drago after all. Just go so any old wielder can make something themselves they put their mind to it. Its eye glinted with mischief. Man, I've been able to at least not die, which is great. We're going to go down the stairs. Then we go to the atrium. Oh. Continue. And then we take a left. Yeah, towards the dungeon. I hope this is the last time we have to come here. Went inside. No, that... Well, I guess nuts are meat. Having retrieved the Acacian signet, returned to the old man's cell. As soon as we got there, Mago took a step forward and grabbed onto the bars. They creaked and groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as summoning every ounce of his strength. Might. Slowly, they bowed apart. He stepped into the cell through the gap, and Kid and I followed. The old man was exactly where he left him, staring into space, muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. She grabbed him by the collar and yelled, "Wakey, wakey, Granddad! We got a few crutches for you. Here, get an eye full of this. Ring any bells, Kid waved the Acacian signet in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's head lolled as he limply allowed himself to be manhandled. Step between them. I tried to get between Kid and the old man. She glared at me. You're in the way, Sarge. We're here for answers, remember? But if you really want to help him, you can't chicken out now. But look at him. There's no helping him anymore, surely. This all ended for him a long time ago. I would not be so certain. This is not over. It means something. He simply has decided to pretend not to see it. Yeah, but it's not over, you say. Struck by the man's sudden interruption, we all turned to look at him. A faint glimmer of light had returned to his once vacant eyes. It kind of does look like that. That's right. None of this is over until we make Leaks pay. His eyes began to cloud once more. So my former allies have finally come for me. I am to blame. It is because of my indiscretion that the Frozen Flame was stolen, and all the Acacian dragoons, only I remain here in the manor. But now all is well, for you have returned. Oh, Melgid, Zorada, where have you been all this time? Did you return to the Lake Stoic? Never mind all that. Never mind all that, Granddad. Where's the Frozen Flame? Give us a clue, anything. Come on, out with it. I couldn't decide if Kid sounded more annoyed or more desperate. The Frozen Flame? The old man looked momentarily confused. And then a wan smile crossed his face. My word, Lady Riddell. It's been far too long since I had the pleasure. Why, you only need to turn the third candlestick from the left as you enter the main hall. That will open the underground vault, as you know. Kid wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight. And then in a trembling voice, she whispered, "Sorry, I promise we'll get it back." Ah, gah! The man recoiled in horror and then began to sob once more. "I am to blame. It's all my fault. Forgive me. Forgive me. Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance." But it was no use. He was too busy cowering and wailing to hear me. "We're done here, Serge. We can't help him, and there's things we need to be doing." "Thank you," I whispered to the old man before following Kid and Maggle out of the dungeon. Yep, our organ room now. The only other room left. We need to go right. Entrance to the atrium comes through. Continue onward. Third candlestick, yeah. Up the stairs, I believe, and then yeah, the dead end. The main corridor, the main hall of the manor. Inside. Looks like the coast is clear. We stepped inside the main hall. Dozens of candles provide a dim, flickering light, sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadow. The great hall was filled with heavy silence, silence unbroken save for the ticking of a large clock that slowly counted the passage of time, as if waiting for something. Several portraits glare down from us with cold eyes. We move through the feeble glow of the candles. Third candlestick from the left. 1, 2, 3. There. He reached towards it. I held my breath as I watched. "Say your prayers, Lynx. We're coming for you." It turned a candlestick. The room trembled with sudden rhythmic sound, as if a massive gear was turning. "What's that?" For a moment, I felt a strange sensation, as if I was floating. "Did you feel that?" I started to stagger. The entire room seemed to be moving downward. Came the reply from Maggle. I couldn't believe it. But I also couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. And then, another rumble. The room's descent rapidly accelerated. Oh, did you, Tor? And then, a cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with the mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? A frozen flame? A prize at the end of this little adventure? But what was it really? Would it live up to our expectations? I tightened my fists, which were slick with sweat. What were Kid and Maggle thinking? The room remained veiled in silence. As if in response to my thought, the quiet voice came from next to me. It was Kid. I looked over to see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched into fists. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle. A fight I'll never win, no matter what I do. There was a side of her I never witnessed before. Even from this angle, I could see the fear and doubt flickering across her face. I felt a tender sting in my heart. We will win, I promise. There's nothing to worry about. We'll win in the end. I promise. Rongo. He gave a smile. I can't promise anything in this world, Serge. There are no guarantees. But thanks anyways. She grinned again, seeming a little embarrassed, and then looked me straight in the eye. Then I had a strange sensation. This wasn't Kid. Or, not the only Kid anyways. I was overwhelmed by the inexplicable oddness of the idea. She noticed immediately, of course, and our little moment was over. The Kid I knew was back in the room. "Trying to catch flies, mate." Sorry. It's just that for a moment there, it felt like you were someone else. "What are you on about?" The Kid gave me a confused look, tilting her head. "It must be because we're drawing near the frozen flame." Maggle's voice, soft as ever, slipped unabated from the shadows. "Eh? What the hell are you two on about?" Kid turned towards him with another puzzled frown. "There's another self within you, struggling against the pull of the abyss." Well, what has she been talking about? A crash split the silence, as if we collided with something. Screech! A loud metal scraping filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. "Looks like end of the line. All change." The swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. No one had much so touched it, and yet the pedals were moving by themselves. The melody played. It was both unsettling and sad. Funeral tune, is it? Way to greet your guests. Kid took a long stride forward and turned to face me and Maggle. Come, let's go! Maggle and I gently nodded our assent. Kid grinned and turned back to the door. I'm coming for you, Lynx! This is the end for you! With that, she led us from the hall. Oh, can't save. We continued down a long corridor, the walls slick with condensation. The air was thick and heavy, as though ripe with the stench of death. We were getting close to Link's hidden vault at last. And there was no turn back now for any of us? There was something strange about Kid that night. Maggle didn't seem to be his usual self either. To begin with, it was vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone to show any kind of emotion. What happened to make them all change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. I had to ask the questions that have been on my mind all this time. Why do you want the frozen flame so badly? Hey kid, why do you want the frozen flame so badly? All I got to reply in the cold echo of her footfalls. Should have known. He didn't like to talk about her reasons for doing things. After all, it was a topic that was likely to lead to discussion of her past. But then she spoke, as if almost a whisper. I'm doing it for Sis. Before she died, she told me to find the frozen flame and bury it. Buried where? Her old mate's grave. He had looked at her feet as she walked. She wasn't me real sister, but she was as good as family to me. When she took me in, I was bloody helpless, couldn't remember a thing. I was barely old enough to survive on my own. She didn't go too much detail about who her mate was. Best I can remember is that I needed to find the grave of a girl who married another mate of hers and died not long after. She said that's where the frozen flame should be laid to rest or something like that. To be honest, I wasn't paying much attention at the time. It's not like I could have known what was about to happen. When she disappeared, I realized she wasn't coming back, though. I swore I'd make good on what she asked me to do. I nabbed the frozen flame from that rat bastard Lynx and get my revenge. His eyes almost seemed to glow with the heat of the cold night air. I'll make him pay for everything he's done, no matter what it takes, even if it kills me. And then she fell silent. Sorry, kid. I didn't mean to bring up something so painful. There was a pause before she replied. Nah, you're alright. I should have said something sooner before I roped you into this. Sorry. Silence reigned supreme as I fumbled around trying to find something to say in reply. Well, all that filled the darkness of the corridor was the sound of yet more footsteps. Hold on. Suddenly, Maggle stopped in his tracks. Wait! He turned around puzzled. Just then, a powerful light surged across the floor and a ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle! Yes, I remember. Damn it, blood circle! Kid and Maggle was at least quick enough to try to jump clear. But they weren't quick enough. The three of us were trapped in the circle of blinding light. The sigil rotated left and right at the center, cutting off all escape route. God, we're trapped! As a wall of heat and wind blew around us, the swirling lines of spiral light assailed us whenever we turned. Don't let the light mesmerize you! Cover your eyes! Shouted Maggle, raising a hand over his mask. Turn with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? I barely even understand what's going on. Kid's elbows brushed against a wall of light surrounding us, sending sparks flying. Be careful! Merely touch shit is more than enough to harm you. Stay well back! I slowly turned my body following the members of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. I turned right 3 steps to the right. There, I see it! That's a way through! Found a gap in the light wall. And carefully walked through it. Kid, Maggle, this way! I managed to get through the barrier unscathed. But we weren't out of the woods yet. There was still another wall of light swirling with great wind in front of us. Then left 2. I slowly turned my body and followed the movements of a ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. And then it's left twice. 2 steps to the left. Here, I see it. That's our way through. Same thing. Same lines. There's an escape barrier. There's still no light. Same lines. Then we do right twice. 2 steps to the right. Here, I see it. This is the same lines. Suddenly, my body felt light, and I staggered 2 or 3 steps forward. We were back in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. The sigil had vanished from the floor, and everything was silent, as if nothing had been missed. Still can't save. And I looked up. Looks like we finally made it, boys! Kit strolled up to the door with a wicked grin on her face. The true frozen flame awaits! Maggle's eyes gave a glint from behind his mask, like clouds catching the moonlight in the darkness of night. Let's go! Kid reached for the handle. So this is a place, huh? Kid narrowed her eyes, straining to see her surroundings in the darkness. A vast pitch black expanse surrounded us, whichever way we looked. It was as if we entered an impossibly vast cave. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden deep within the bowels of night. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness, frozen flame. All right, now it's ours! The light of the flame ebbed and waned gently, as if responding to Kid's voice. What the heck is this place? There's mountains of bloody rubble everywhere! Maggle took a step back into the room and said in a whisper that was almost a groan, No, can't be. Ah, but it is the ruins of a lost kingdom of mages. A voice drifted down through the darkness above. Kid looked up in shock. Huh? Lynx, I'll kick your flea-biting arse so hard you'll kiss the moon. Kid pulled a knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. It fell to the floor with a clang as if knocked down the air by some unseen hand. Still, same impetuous child as ever, I see. There's no way to greet an old friend. Smarmy bastard! Kit gritted her teeth with rage. And you, Shadow Dreller, I have none of your tricks this time. You must think me a fool if I believe I fall for that again. Maggle, who had been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. So this is the infamous Lynx. Oh. Huh. The lord of this deadly manor. The man who had murdered the closest thing Kid had to her family, who assassinated General Viper and eradicated the Order of the Acacian Dragons. A pleasure as always, my dear Kid, I must say. Oh, you followed the trail of breadcrumbs I laid out for you and admirably closely, my greedy little sneak thief. What the bloody... She stepped forward briskly. Lynx narrowed his eyes, his lips twisted into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid? Give me the stone you carry. The stone? The Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? Ha! Don't know what you're all about, mate. She just about managed to recover her composure, narrowing her eyes scornfully at her old foe. Spare me the act, child. I know that you have it. I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg, now. The what? Whatever it was, I never heard of it. Yeah, he kind of looks dumb. You're dreaming if I think I give it to you likes of you, Kid shot back. It's all I have left of her. I'll never let go of it. Not for you. And definitely not for you. Not for anyone, and definitely not for you. A little bit. I'll tell you what's going to happen, you bastard. First, I'm going to take the frozen flame, and then I'm going to ram it down your throat. Incorrigible fool. I hope that this might be a civil exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears. And you are determined to repeat your past errors. Lynx moved his hand to the grip of his ornate golden saber that hung from his belt. Last time I showed you mercy and let you leave your life, that was a mistake. One which I mean to correct. Surge, Maggle, stay back! Kit took a step forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. This is how it ends, and now you'll pay for what you've done. You'll pay for what you did to Luca. With a scream, Kid leapt in the air like a bird taking flight. Her foot lashed out like into a scythe-like Kid aimed at the right side of Lynx's head. But there was no contact where Lynx had been mere moments before. Now there was only empty space. Kid landed and immediately launched herself back into the air, putting the full force of her momentum into another kick. This time, Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot swing past only hair's breadth from his nose. And then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc through the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, however, and he's already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glared at each other from mere footsteps apart. At least you have the decency to prepare for a little better than last time, Lynx purred. A red line appeared in Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing in a drop of bed. I think it's just shading. I think, like, part of that's shading, part of it's the outfit. Kid! In a flash, she launched herself into another attack. Lynx started to the side and made her strike with the hilt of his saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her footing. And then Lynx was on her like a bird of prey before she fully recovered. There was a gasp and a cough as Lynx drove his knees in the pit of her stomach. Kid collapsed. A steady stream of red dripped from her lips. I have to take the hydrate. Will that be all, girl? Lynx gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rubber, her body rolling until she hit a large stone pillar, and there she lay, lifelessly still. Kid? Kid! I screamed her name as I charged towards Lynx. But Maggle was always there. He flew through the darkness in a part of the shadow. We were crashing down on Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back and countless threads of light blew from his fingertips towards Maggle. With her droning hum, the threads of light surrounded Maggle, crossing one another. They spread to form a lattice of light that gave off a blinding glare and trapped Maggle where he stood. What is this? Maggle staggered and groaned, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands. It is simple enough spell, my shadowy friend, for those who incline to learn it, and one which, sadly for you, leaves no darkness with which to hide. Lynx leered at Maggle with a venomous grin. You have been quite the thorn in my side. I'll let you live long enough to regret it. Maggle struggled and groaned. I had to do something. Kid and Maggle needed me. Well, what was I going to do? Lynx had started making his way over to the Kid while I was paralyzed with indecision. What's the matter, Kid? You were so bold only a moment ago. Aren't you going to keep me entertained? Lynx looked down his nose at the Kid's broken body. Now, why are you going to give me the time ache? We can still be civilized about this. I am, of course, a gentleman, and it pains me to have seized a fair maiden's valuables by force. Even the fair maiden in question is, in fact, a filthy street rat. He pressed his foot into Kid's head. I could hear her voice, faint and breathless. It's Lucca's stone, not yours. I'll never give it to anyone. And no way will I give it to the likes of you. I couldn't let him get in closer to her. But what was I gonna do? I guess I grabbed the Kid! Ran over to where she lay. She was flat out, still collapsed where she'd fallen. Her blood still ran from her mouth. Kid, say something! I crouched down next to her, glancing at her face in panic. She groaned, and as she began to stir, her face twisting with pain. Serge. It's okay, Kid, I'm here. How touching, although I'd be far more concerned about my own well-being if I were you. That voice came from behind me. It felt as ice water had been poured down my neck. I jumped to my feet and turned around. Lynx was looking down at me with a cold and motionless stare. Any friend of Kid's is certainly no friend of mine. Forgive me, I cannot permit you to leave this place alive. Before I realized this, his hand had shot out towards me. His claw-like fingers clamped around my throat. I couldn't breathe. Tightening my grip, Lynx lifted me bodily until my feet were just dangling in the air. I could feel his talons mercilessly digging deeper into my neck. Panic filled my mind. Look, Kid, see your friend, see him suffer. This is your doing. This is your hand around his neck. Kid's breathing was ragged, the blood still dripping from her lips. Opening an eye, she groggily raised her head. But she couldn't get up. She didn't have the strength. Surge! Give me the time egg. Do you know what it is? I suspect not. Think of it as a concentrated pocket of space. With the frozen flame and the time egg in hand, one can bend the fabric of space and time and rewrite the past. There are errors I mean to correct. Mistakes in the past that must be set right. Link's narrow, emotionless eyes returned to my face. How long before he perishes, I wonder? I struggled to breathe, but could only make choking sounds. Kid screamed my name. Decide, would you watch the boy die or relent? Does his life mean nothing to you? I can't. She balled her hands into fists and dropped her gaze. My vision started to fade. And then I heard her voice as she struggled to speak through the pain. I'm sorry, Serge, but I swore I'd sacrifice anything to stop Lynx. Don't worry about me. It's all I could do to force out the words past Lynx's icy grip. I was starting to black out. Was this really how it was going to end? For crying out loud. Fine, you win. Here, have your damn rock. Lynx's grip on my throat loosened. Burning with pain, Kid reached a shaking hand into her shirt. I knew you were to come around in the end. Lynx threw my body to the ground and then walked. Just shut up and take it, you bastard! It's all you deserve. With the strength she could muster, Kid lashed out at Lynx with her right hand. Yeah! He leapt back in a desperate attempt to evade the blow. But it was too late. Kid's nails, sharp as cat claws, raked mercilessly into his face. Lynx roared with pain. He staggered, clutching his left eye. Blood oozed through the gaps in his fingers. You wretched little chite of a girl! Lynx stood awkwardly, clutching the wound on his face. The fingers of his free hand arched into furious talons as he walked back towards Kid, who still lay on the ground. I'll kill you all! He kicked her hard, concentrating all of his wrath and venom into the blow. Kid grasped, but the wind was knocked out of her. Yet more blood ran from her mouth as her body rolled across the floor. Kid! I yelled hoarsely, clutching my burning throat with one hand. Lynx turned his head slowly to look at me, one eye fixing on me coldly as if it came into view. He took a step toward me. Yes, perhaps we'd better start with you. My dear Kid, rest assured that your friend's death will be the most elaborate and painful one. You will know truly what it means to suffer. I will put you through the same suffering as I did to that Luca woman. Kid's body stirred with shock and horror. Her eyes slowly widening, fixating on Lynx. They were wild eyes, stained with the blood that poured from her brow. Gritting her teeth, she staggered to her feet. Lynx! Lynx! And an explosion of light burst forth from the frozen flame. Another light began to form somewhere near Kid's chest, resonating with the light of the frozen flame. The twin lights intertwined, twirling slowly upwards. And as it rose, the golden spiral spread. No, this can't be! Lynx stood motionless, transfixed by the spectacle. Was this a Chimex power? Kid screamed as the raising blades of life engulfed her. I'll never let you do it again! I'll never let you steal from me again! Bathed in the glow, her body shook. Blood-red tears dripped from her eyes as they took on a distant look. And then she collapsed to the ground as if all the life had gone out of her. I heard a voice. It was quiet and still, like the evening. It has come to pass. It is retracing her lost memories back through time. Back to the Lost Kingdom. It was through her power that the kingdom fell. It was that it was swallowed in the all-encompassing vortex of time. In her grief, she wished to disappear. Her past, her future, she wanted all to sink into the void, to be lost to the deceiving whirl of time. She despised what she had done. She closed herself from all that she saw and heard, and cursed her very existence. But the stone wished for her to live. The hands of her clock were rewound, her memories unraveled. The stone gave her a chance to begin anew. My norm has been saying way. Oh, that sucks. Have a good night. Have a good night. My other account is him. The stone held both the power and the will to bring all of this about. Sinking through the sea of time, she drifted here, a mere babe, her memories a blank slate. The time egg shattered as fragments raining down on the world, becoming shards of sorrow and anguish. The world around us drifted into pieces. It swallowed us, engulfed us. We were consumed, locked into the void. Then, a girl's scream echoed in the darkness. That voice, that kid, sounded just like... No, this is all wrong! The black voice text, it surrounds us! No, stop! Where am I? I lost everything, and now I can but wander. The world drifts and time's a blur. There's only endless and unknowable sea. This is where time begins and ends. This is where all life finds peace. I see myself as a baby crying next to my mother, an exhausted yet proud look upon her face. I see myself age and wizen, ready to succumb to death's embrace with a smile. I see countless incarnations of myself walking time's integrated corridors as ghosts. This is the place where countless worlds overlap and infinite dreams play out. If only I could rest here for eternity. If only I could free myself of all the burdens and sleep here, in this sea of dreams. But all I hear calling me, I hear the song. Kid, please. Can you hear me? Kid, say something. Kid, you gotta stay with me. Who's that? Who's calling me? Surge? Where am I? Kid, you're awake! I hear a song. It was beautiful. It was that song that Luca loved. She closed her eyes and her face glowed with a warm smile. I'll never forget that song. Makes me want to cry whenever I hear it. I'm just glad you're back. It felt like I was losing you, like you were going somewhere far, far away. Before I knew it, I was humming the song for you. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I wrote it when I first started out as a musician. I knew you liked it, so He gave a gentle nod. It was you. You're the one who called me back. That was you calling my name. Thanks, Surge. It's okay. It's okay now. I'm back. Suddenly, she gasped with pain. Link's saber had plunged deep into her. And towering over us was Lynx himself. Again! I told you, kid. I told you I would kill you. He had no strength left to fight. What was I going to do? I tackled Link. Damn you! I charged toward him with all the strength I had left. That's quite enough, Brad. Link slashed out at me with his saber. Ah! I staggered and collapsed to the ground. But what about Kid? Was she okay? I looked desperately around to find her, my eyes clouded with pain. Alas, your time has come. He raised his saber high, preparing to strike. Enough! Stunned, we looked toward the intruder. You! There stood the young crone, her wizened features obscured by a heavy hood. How she had made it all the way down here? Lady Vera, what have you done to bring Poor's Magister General running, I wonder, growled. It's been far too long, Lord Lynx. I pity that I seem not to have caught you at your best. The crone met Lynx's mad stare head on. I'll take the frozen flame. After all, it seems you two have been quite unable to decide which of you should have it. He raised a hand. An armed soldiers poured into the room. Magical lifted Kid to her feet. This seems like a good time to leave. Lynx snarled. You'll regret this, witch! He kicked off from the floor. His body rose into the air. And then he turned his venomous glare at us. And you, Kid, you'll pay with this with your life soon enough. You'll never be safe from me. And with that, he disappeared like a puff of smoke. The crone lingered for a moment, her eyes resting on us. Kid, if you wish to try to steal the frozen flame again, you're welcome to try anytime you please. We'll be waiting. But you have to get out of here alive first. The soldiers drew their weapons and fell upon us. Darkness, heed my call! The Kid slumped against him. Magpul spread his arms and a sewer signal in the air. Hurry, Surge! This way! I grabbed onto him and we plunged into the blackness. Thanks to Mackle's magic, we managed to escape the manor alive. But the lights of the torches dotted the forest, and we hear soldiers calling to one another. We stopped briefly in the darkness of the woods, and Kid leaned heavily on the tree, desperately trying to quiet her ragged breathing. Terrible wounds he suffered, and it seemed to be taking its toll. Are you alright, Kid? Yeah, don't worry about me, mate. We're surrounded. It won't be long before they find us, said Maggle, his eyes cautiously scanning the area. Kid raised his head to look at me. It's me and Maggle they want. Get out of here, Surge. It's us they want, not you. What are you saying? I'm not leaving you here. Look at you. You can barely stand. It's nothing I can't handle. And besides, I've got Maggle with me. And if they catch you with us, they won't go easy on you. But I remembered everything. I remembered another me. A me from a long time ago. Slowly, Kid averted her gaze, looking up at the night sky. I have to go. Stars reflected in her eyes, and suddenly she looked like nothing more than an ordinary girl with a sad, distant expression on her face. Kid, don't worry, Surge. I'm okay. We'll meet again. Kid smiled. We'll meet again somewhere, someday, sometime. Promise. Her eyes closed gently. I didn't manage to nick the frozen flame in the end, and I lost the time egg too. The only thing I have left of Luca's, but it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. There's something inside me that shines brighter than any stupid jewel. The most important thing in the world. He opened eyes again and fixed them on me. I could have lost myself in the depths forever. No one can take it from me, not as long as I live. There was nothing else in the world I wanted but this. I doubted I ever wanted anything again. I only wanted this moment. All the clocks in the world could have stopped right then and there for all I cared. And that's exactly what I wished for as I gazed at her. Goodbye, Surge, and thanks. He looked down, then turned away, disappeared into the darkness of night. Would I ever see her again? Kid! Don't follow me, Surge. Please, just don't. I strained, tried to catch a glimpse of her as the last trace of the shadow vanished towards a place I might never reach again. No, Kid! I leapt to my feet, meaning to chase after her, but a shadow soon blocked my path. Maggle? Without saying a word, he slowly shook his head. Behind the mask, I saw sadness in. Then the shadow withdrew and melted into the dark. Maggle? Kid? Wait, don't leave me! I screamed into the night, but there was no reply. Black silence. Eyes. Kid! Kid! And so ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see Kid, Maggle, and Riddell again. One day. Somewhere, at another time, in another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. But that's a story for another day. For now, I must put down my pen. You know, I think this kind of works as me playing it last than playing it before the other one. I closed my grandfather's diary, and then from downstairs I hear my mother calling. Did you hear me? Your friend's here. Nimble footsteps charged up the stairs. The door flew open and tumbled a young girl. Girls who seemed somehow familiar. Hey Surge, it's a beautiful day for adventuring. I found a rundown old manor off in the woods to the north. You want to go exploring? Come on, put the book down and let's get out there. We are not true. We are definitely not translating the credits. That's Chrono Trigger 2. You're gonna have to look at these Japanese kanji. You know what? That's actually pretty good. I enjoyed this a lot more than the main Chrono Cross game. Graphic. I know there's still other stories and like side stuff, but the main point was for me to at least get through this part. He go so late, my sleep schedule can go. Yeah, this one went a lot. I still say you're crazy. You're still a crazy person. We're gonna get these credits going, and then we're gonna watch the other credits so we can see what the special thing is. Sewato. Wait. Don't even see what that said. Okay, I started going crazy for a second because I'm listening to this song and like it did that thing and I just started going, you are my daughter, like I am your father groom, you are my daughter bride. Like from goddamn Whitest Kids You Know. I'm like shit. Think of all thing, you only delude yourself. No. Nope. No, see, the streamer is the most objectively correct one. If you were streaming and we were doing this here, you'd be the most objectively correct, but you are a member of chat. You cannot be objectively correct. That's how it works. That's how all of this works. There's no headbats. I'm not gonna set up headbats. I feel weird if I set up headbats. Maybe I should do the fucking Moriko thing and just like headbats like times you out for 10 minutes. Fiend. Kid, les tres interdit complete. There's still 7 other things that we could do, but I think I only have to beat the 1 for it to count. Presented by Radical Dreamer. If I hit continue, where does it put? I'm gonna at least save. It does a little thing. Oh well. Anyways, let's see. Now, the way this says is that you beat the game, and then you just sit here in credits. And these credits are kind of long, so I'll pat your head, I'll poke your eyes out. Well, no, you're gonna have to poke my eyes out then, or take my face off. But yeah. I guess we'll just sit here until the credits end, and then we'll see if it does. And if it doesn't do that, then damn it, I have to do the others. I'm not gonna do the other parts tonight. Face smack. I just gotta figure out if I want to kind of do the other stuff, or because all of it is kind of like sites content, or just like different endings. Let me look it up for a second. I'm just gonna search up Radical Dreamers if things are freaking out. That's fine. Other scenarios are available at the player completes it first. Both include humorous and serious variations of the main plot. Maggle, love, poly, elopement. Kid and the Sunflower. The Great Space Chase. Oh my god, listen to this one. Maggle is a space cop searching for links, secretly a green Martian creature with tentacles. Maggle's rock guitar forces Links out of hiding, and Surge assaults him with a lesser Martian Bunny Bun Bun. Homecoming, Felicia Light, Paradeus. Okay. So yeah, everything else is like a nothing. It's just fun. But yeah, we're just gonna wait off of these credits so we can see whatever is this stupid teaser, because I have yet to watch it. Of course, this also gives me a time to rest my voice, because Christ. You know, reading it kind of sucks. As I said, like, this is probably one of the reasons why I don't typically do visual novels. It's also one of the reasons why I probably would never do Phoenix Wright on this channel, just because, like, there is a ton of reading. Like 999 VLR and zero time dilemma, they're fine because, like, at least it's voice acting. Same thing with AI, both the Somnia Files, and of course, you know, like in a month, like Nirvana comes out. So of course I'm gonna do AI Nirvana. Because I'm pretty sure that's in June. And at least if when I do Live Alive or Live Alive, yes, they announced that like last year. AI the Somnium Files Nirvana initiative. It actually stars fuck, what's her face? Mizuki. He plays Mizuki. But that also that has a big titty lady, big titty AI lady. I don't know. I haven't watched any trailers, so I would not know. I actually bought and played them all. Oh, those are fun. Those are fun. Bum, 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 bum. God, these credits are kind of long. Holy shit. I pats my severed head. Probably TMNT. Oh yeah, I kind of forget that's coming out. Then again, I don't really play a lot of beat 'em ups or arcade beat 'em ups, so I have no. I'm just scrolling Twitter as I wait for these credits to finish. God, now I almost have to piss again, but like, I feel like we're okay. If we're seeing Cryware and special things, you know, we're basically getting to the end. What's our credits gonna be? We'll just have like an image of the frozen flame in the background. The time was near, the final battle array. There alone in the shadows, the man lingered. His partners, a young man and a young woman, had already made their preparations, and were waiting for him at the place they had agreed upon. Their foe was a fearsome opponent indeed. Would the three of them be able to defeat him? There was only one way to find out. All the better. What fun is a battle whose outcome is all but certain. The man reached a hand to his mask, silver and unembellished, save for a few subtle details. It had begun many long years since he last revealed. It's been many long years since he last revealed his face. Did he wear the mask to hide himself from others, or did he wear it to hide from himself? Enough time had passed that not even he was sure anymore. But it didn't matter now. The end was coming, an end to everything. Soon, his long days of wandering would be over. So too would the girl's ill-fated, fleeting existence. Hey, Ranger! We're doing the special ending! How many years had passed? How many centuries? How much love and prayer? How much hatred and rancor? How much despair and resignation had slowly and silently fallen over him, piling up like snow? Radical Dreamers is a visual novel for the Satellaview, which is like, well, on that fated day, long ago, everything that he had vanished, faded away into nothingness, without so much as a whimper. There was nothing he could have done to stop it, but one memory stayed with him. Even after everything else fell away, one unforgettable image. Give me a second. That kingdom of winds, forever lost. Those blessed days in paradise above the clouds. That face, her gentle, bittersweet smile. Perhaps his time behind the mask, coming to an end. His icy gaze seemed to thaw for him, and then he sprang to action. Moonlight flashed across the mask. His silvery hair followed behind him, reaching out like the tail of a comet. I mean, granted, his hair is actually kind of bluish. I wouldn't say it's silvery, it's kind of bluish. The time has come, O fated star, the king has returned, and with that, he vanished into darkness. Though a life may end, a story lives on. Not forever, perhaps, but... What's eternity compared to this moment in time? Guile Magus is Maggle is Magus. Yes. That's where I come in from. Anyways, Radical Dreamers is part of Chrono Cross. It's actually it is for the Satellaview, which is a SNES that's able to hook up to like satellite internet, and so you can download stuff. It's a prequel to Chrono Cross, and it's kind of a weird, like, it's not important, but like it does, you know, try to set something up. Is a weird thing. It's not prequel. Well, I mean, it's related to. It was designed to stir up interest in a way. Either way, fuck off. Okay, then Chrono Cross is not a sequel to Chrono Trigger. You don't need to play Cross. Yeah, you don't need to play Trigger to play Cross either. Godly Kids as siblings, yes. Yeah. Alright. Wait, where are we going? What am I doing? No. No. Chrono Trigger doesn't make me irrationally mad at this story, so no. What am I doing to... Whoops. Well, that's not it either. There we go. Max Payne on Thursday. No. I don't know. The only person who's delusional is probably you, Lala. Fucking Chrono Cross was fucking mid. Actually, I'm not sure what's his face. That's what. Anyways, Max Payne on Thursday, Friday, Phantasy Star Online. Why is Morka still streaming? Well, Morka's still streaming, but we've already done Lucatiel. I thought there was... Oh, let's see. What is Waifu doing? Waifu's doing Metal Gear. I feel like we should go to Waifu. Anyways, let's start up this raid, and I also probably should move over and let me load up the stream. Stream. God, I hate is how sometimes advertisements take a fucking while, and alright. Dave Balls already. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys for coming out tonight. Stay safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for more Max Payne. Have a good night. I'm gonna end it so y'all don't hear the rest of Dev.
Number 7, number 45s